to We Want Picks. Jakey and I are going to break down the entire UFC Vegas 77 fight card, giving you our picks, our predictions, our bets, and our DraftKings plays. But before I do, I want to give you $50. UFC 290 was wild.
Oh my God. Were you there?
My most confident pick on that card was Robert Whittaker. I don't know if I've ever been more wrong in my entire life. Not only did he get beat, he got beat bell to bell. So
Can I
know.
Can I just run something by you real quick? That
next slide.
And I'm not sure if you're going to agree or disagree or if this is a topic of conversation, but I honestly feel like we have entered into an alternate universe, alternate reality. Because I'm telling you right now, every Saturday night for the past month, but for the past 5-6 weeks, when I go to bed on Saturday night, I just watch my lock of the week win. I literally just watch my lock of the week win. I go to bed. I wake up on Sunday, and I don't know, I've been watching TikToks about this. I think this is a real thing. Every time I wake up on Sunday, I'm looking, I'm real excited. I'm like, wait a second. They lost? When I went to bed Saturday night, swear to God, Angelo, Yair Rodriguez had knocked out Volk in the third round. I went to bed happy. I woke up Sunday. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's wild.
You literally picked the worst underdog on that entire card. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
But did I?
Let's talk about giving people $50. I will give you $50. Anybody and everybody. You will get $50. All you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets, sign up with any one of our betting partners using our link, and I send you $50. It's affiliate marketing. They're going to pay me. I break off some of that money. I give it right back to you. It's literally that simple. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit. I'll send you $50. And yes, Jacob, I did go to UFC 290. Let me give you a couple thoughts at UFC 290.
These are the pictures you choose. Couldn't even fucking throw the octagon in there. You were blocking the octagon.
Well, that picture, it might be hard to see. It's just funny because
it's the decibel levels, but I mean, you would have thought.
That was actually, I thought it was pretty sweet. Anyway, the wife, it was actually by accident. For my 40th birthday, she booked us a trip to Vegas. And then she was like, oh shit, UFC might be here. So then she bought us floor seats to UFC. Great gift. UFC was awesome. Couple of things, don't buy floor seats. I think she spent like $3,800 on 2 tickets. Can't see the cage. Like if I sat up straight and the people in front of me were all right, I could see it. But the better seats are like halfway up where these people are. They're actually less expensive as well because you can see what's going on. Also, the fights were wild. There is nothing like being at an event. If you want to get somewhat of a feel for it, I filmed a Fight Foods vlog. It's just all my, footage from the fights, footage from the time in Vegas, stuff like that. The iPhone camera, because I wasn't walking around with a GoPro like a dildo. The iPhone camera does such a good job of isolating my audio that you don't really hear the surrounding audio. The Robbie Lawler retirement, the chants Robbie, it was unbelievable. Like it sounded like 1 million people were chanting Robbie. It was absolutely phenomenal.
How much you think Nico took home? Take that fall.
The fact.
How much? How much?
I don't think he took a fall. Nico's chinny. He's been knocked out many times before.
I think it's at least $100K on that.
No. Fall. Anyway, it was a ton of fun. It was an insanely expensive trip that probably wasn't.
Did you even
worth
gamble?
The money. I don't gamble. Tiffany gambles. I gambled, but I played blackjack and stuff like that. But I wasn't gonna. Hey Tiff, fuck off while I play blackjack.
I mean, you guys can sit there and play blackjack together. It's a lot of fun. That's what you do. You hang out. You play blackjack.
She does slot machines, so I tried to be a good husband and do that with her. I lost $100 in like 30 seconds. I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
Wow,
this is
30 seconds. Might have been betting the minimum on that, huh?
They were $1 and just hitting max bet. Max bet. Well, there it goes. There goes all the money with the electronic slot machine.
The $100 bill I brought, it's gone.
Yeah, I'm poor. We bet with a $100 bill, and that was the end of it. Anyway, it was a ton of fun. I recommend going. And if there is, they come to Dallas every couple of years. I don't know why they haven't.
Oh my God, we should go. We should get a suite.
Well, I wanted to get a suite for the Nate Diaz boxing match, and that shit was $20,000. So then they lowered the price. They cut the price in half after a week because they realized nobody was.
Is that still going on?
It's in a couple of. Actually, the only reason I haven't bought tickets is I just feel like it's not going to happen. So that's why I have not bought tickets.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Well, remember he's had fights canceled before too. This is not the first time he would have had Jake Paul had a fight at Madison Square Garden and then canceled it.
This was Jake Paul or this is Logan Paul?
Jake Paul had the Madison Square Garden one.
I know, but who's fighting? Jake is fighting Nate?
All right, shut up. Anyway,
I'm serious.
guys.
I literally can't remember if it's Jake or Logan.
It's Jake, yeah, the popular one.
Okay. Well, Logan's the actual boxer, so. Oh, no, Jake's the boxer.
Okay. Guys, premium membership is way more than just copy-paste bets. I know a lot of people want the shortcut to the bets. I just want to copy-paste. And if you copy and pasted my bets outside of the safety parlay, it would have been up a little bit. I was up half a unit, but I only bet 3 units, so up half a unit's not so bad. But the reality is premium membership is so much more than copy-paste bets. It's teach a man to fish. Teach a man to fish. We give you tools and information.
Have you ever actually been fishing? Like actual fishing? I know you bow fish, but...
I go fishing all the time with the girls. Yeah, of course.
Bass, huh? You throw out the bobber and catch a bass, do you?
You're not going to pretend I didn't grow up fishing. I grew up in fucking Connecticut. We were fishing all the time.
Well, you're the one that's
We'd
acting
walk
like
down
you and
the
your daughters
railroad
go out and
tracks.
catch bass. I said you
Well,
catch bass.
when I
Me
fish
and the girls all the time.
No, you said you go fishing. I said yes all the time with my
Snoopy
daughters.
pole,
Then you said that
5-pound bass.
Then you said, have you caught a bass? And yeah, no shit. I grew up in Connecticut.
I don't know. I don't know if you know how to.
Anyway,
cast. Do you use the thing with the button?
This is going to be an 11-hour show.
I don't care. It's my only sense of life in this world.
Anyway, you get tools and information. The line movement tracker is one of those tools. You're going to get the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every single fight, which is incredibly useful when trying to find trends and find spots. You're going to get detailed data, metrics, and analytics is available to you right now for this event. This is going to give you all the information on every fighter's fight history, their current UFC stats, so you can find your spot. Say, wow, this dude's all of his finishes have been this way, and this guy has this striking differential. All that data is available to you. You're also going to get the DraftKings Optimizer. This will build 150 lineups for you. If you don't know how wildly successful our community is playing DraftKings, then watch the beginning of the DraftKings video. $149,000 in DraftKings winnings in the last 2 months or something like that. You're also going to get courses. One of the number one questions we get out of this video, the Tuesday video, is what are those giant DraftKings numbers? Well, the Beginner's Guide to DraftKings course is going to walk you through exactly what those are, how to build a lineup, and what all of that means. And I can promise you this. Playing DraftKings, you could agree with this statement. Playing DraftKings while watching fights makes it far more enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. Yep, he agrees. And you're also going to get more than just me and Jake. You can get Artem. Artem put out 2 videos this week on our channel for other promotions. You're going to get his bets, his breakdowns, his insight into KSW, Cage Warriors, PFL, all of those other shows. And you're also going to get the Pick Doctor. Pick Doctor is a human that built an AI that picks fights. It's completely in beta, but follow the journey, follow along as we build this thing up so that it can outpick both Jacob and I, so that this video can just be fart jokes instead of actually trying to break down fights. All of that for only $10 a month. WeOwnPicks.com. Just click become a member. It's $10 a month, not a week, not an event, a month.
Or $1 a minute of this fucking promo.
You're the one who drugged this shit the fuck out. We got a whole bunch.
You're the one. How many pots have you smoking?
$2 from Quint saying bald in quotes because I don't take my hat off, but there's some picture of me without a hat on. I'm not bald. Certainly not running around with a fucking thick, juicy head of hair, but it ain't bald, baby.
Happy birthday, Quint.
Thank you. Sam Pierce, $1.99. I scored 769 points on DraftKings and got 6th place in 11,000 contests. In 11 contests. I'm guessing that's what I'm supposed to say. Yeah, it was a wild week.
No, there's 11,000 people in the contest. Holy fuck, man.
I don't know if that's what it is. But anyway, congratulations, Sam Pierce. That's a huge get. Last night, or Saturday night, was a wild DraftKings card. And that's the Super Chats. Let's go ahead.
Well, we have a gifted membership.
Those don't pop up. Who gifted it?
Phantom. My dude Phantom. Very active in the Discord. Active in the chats. We love Phantom. And it went to Sam Pierce. So there you go. You're active in the chat. You donate money. You get kickbacks.
Congratulations. Guys, we already have 150 people watching. We haven't even broke down the first fight. Thank you all very, very much.
How many?
150, Jacob.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we have people on Twitch as well. Muppet. First up, at UFC Vegas 77, we have Tucker Lutz taking on Melsik Baghdasaryan. Tucker Lutz is 12-3 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, and he is looking to break a 2-fight skid. He's taking on Melsik Baghdasaryan. He's 7-2 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that submission loss to Josh Culibao. Tucker Lutz, he's actually kind of a solid striker. He's willing to engage. He'll set up his power rel, but he's mostly a wrestler. He has a wrestling background. He uses that to pressure forward. He's got big slam-style takedowns. He's averaging almost 2 per fight. His wins are dominant, but they're not exciting, right? He comes forward, he gets a big takedown, and then he just hangs out on top for control instead of chasing a finish. He's riding back-to-back losses, most recently that submission to Daniel Pineda, where he got dropped first and then he was choked. He's taking on Melsik Baghdasaryan. This dude's a very aggressive striker, always moving forward, really diverse set of strikes. Does a good job mixing things up. He's long. He has a professional kickboxing background before he transitioned to MMA. And you can see those techniques inside the octagon. He's going to go to your body. He's going to use his kicks. He's going to put it all together really, really well. Good forward pressure, good power, very diverse, super fun to watch. In 2023, everybody's well-rounded, right? This is mixed martial arts, and it's not the early 90s or early 2000s, but this feels like an old-school grappler versus striker style matchup, right? We watched Tucker get dropped. We watched Melsik get out-scrambled and submitted. Melsik is a little less than the 2-1 favorite. You can see this line has tightened here. You know, the reality is I do think Melsik's going to win this fight. I agree with the line movement. I think this fight should have been a little closer because they both have very clear paths to victory. I personally think the gap on the feet is not nearly as wide as the grappling gap, right? I actually think that the grappling gap is the wider one, which would make me favor Tucker, but I am going to go Melsik to lose this fight. Big twist. I got Tucker Lutz winning this fight. I think he's going to come forward, wrestle heavy. I tried my greatest Gordon Ramsay there. I like Tucker Lutz to win this fight. Super, super close. Super, super close. I do think Tucker can come forward, stick with the wrestling, tuck his chin, and then just sort of out-grapple Melsik here. But this is a dumb close fight. I know you completely disagree. What do you think?
If Tucker Lutz beats Melsik to start the card on Saturday.
Don't say something stupid because
and I'm live streaming.
We've seen
I
this.
am going to shut that fucking stream off and just accept that, like I said earlier, we are in a complete new twilight zone if Melsik is getting beat by Tucker Lutz. Yes, he is a good wrestler. Yes, he is a good grappler, but he is slow to get to those positions. He is a very kind of march forward to kind of press you against the cage to get those takedowns. He's not shooting these crazy singles, these blast doubles, because he's such a stiff guy in the octagon. He's stiff in the wrestling. He's stiff in the striking. This dude is just a walking heavy bag, marching forward with okay boxing and okay power. And if Melsik can't put this guy out, and I mean out early, then I don't know what is going on in this fight. I have no idea what these odds are doing. Minus 200. I put a bet on Melsik minus 200 thinking that was going to go to minus 250. It's went the other way. I have no idea what is going on with this fight because Tucker Lutz is way too stiff to get to a guy like Melsik who is dominating that Culibao fight until like a weird little slip and then a scramble and he got his neck caught. But, you know, that is what it is. I have no idea what is going on with this fight. I swear to God, if Melsik loses to start the card Saturday, I'm fucking done. I might just be done forever. I don't get it. That's how I feel about this fight. I'm a little bit biased because I do like Melsik, but there's no way you can watch Tucker Lutz in the stand-up and be like, oh yeah, he's got a shot here.
Well, I agree, but there's gaps in his stand-up. There's gaps in Melsik's grappling, and I think the gaps in Melsik's grappling are wider than the gaps in Tucker's stand-up.
And I will say, if he gets to Melsik, he definitely can take him down. I mean, I watched, Colin Anglin just kind of like scoop him. I mean, there was one of the easiest takedowns I've ever seen. I just don't think with the movement and how much he's going to punish him on the entries, I just don't think he can survive.
Yeah, this is not a hill I'm dying on, right? I watched the tape. I watched both fighters, and I do tend to favor wrestlers, but wrestlers are the ones that can control where fights go. And I think if Tucker can control, but we watched him get dropped, a little chinny. And Melsik's the kind of guy who's going to find that. Melsik can keep his power a little late. So I'm not going to disagree with the Melsik pick, but I did go the other way. Probably going to keep my money here.
He's 28 years old, but I swear to God, he fights like he's fucking 43, 44 years old. Just the way that he moves inside the outguard. He's coming off like back surgery and stuff too. It's like...
Well, the AI picked Tucker, and we've talked about the AI before. The AI, it's in beta. It doesn't even have grappling statistics. All it has is biometrics and striking. It doesn't even know their records. It doesn't know their nationality. It doesn't know that grappling exists. Purely based off of biometrics and striking, it picked Tucker Lutz. Probably because he's younger and longer, which I was surprised he was younger as well. He seems like he's been around forever. So anyway, you and I are split on this. You're confident enough to spend $9,200 in DraftKings?
I think that if he's not finishing this guy, I don't know what he's doing. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Melsik isn't, if he can't finish Tucker Lutz, then he's not who I think he is, and I still think he is who I think he is. That was a karma situation at Kulibao. He pushed Kulibao at the face-offs, so he had a little bit of karma coming. He was winning that fight, and then he gets caught. He's paid his dues. He's got to put this guy away. You got to, man.
Inside the distance decision, no action is probably the bet to make here for Melsik, because I don't think Tucker will submit Melsik. I think he's going to wet blanket him. But Melsik is the one that has all the finishing upside. So, I hear you. He's more dangerous for sure.
You're hearing, but you're not listening. You're hearing, but you're not listening.
I'm just not agreeing.
You're not listening.
Very different things. That kid, Fight Talk Only, who tweets stuff for attention, is asking for a free membership to the Discord. Listen, Discord's 100% free, pal. Go join the Discord. It is free. The only thing premium membership gets you in the Discord is access to private channels, which gives you alerts on your phone when we place bets and stuff like that. But it's only $10 a month. We don't do handouts. Not for $10 a month, pal. We have well over 2,000 active premium members, and we appreciate every single one of you. And if I were to give you a free membership for no reason, then that would be discrediting.
Oh my God! Then you'd have to give it to everybody.
That is true.
I mean, do them everybody.
No promo codes, none of that bullshit. It's fucking $10, and all the stuff you get is absolutely insane. You get the line movement tracker, the detailed data and metrics.
I don't know why he's treating you this way.
He was like, Jacob, help me. Like you were going to say, yeah, give him a free membership.
Huh?
That's what he asked for, a free membership, and then he said, tell him, Jacob. Like you were going to say, yeah, give him a free membership. You agree with me?
I think he was probably, when I was breaking down Melsik, is what he's talking about, old man.
No, it wasn't. I'm not the old one. It was all in the same text.
I understand, but it was what he wrote that a while ago while I was talking about Melsik.
That is an incorrect statement on your part.
I mean, he can answer it right now if you want.
Sam Pierce says, just get premium. I've been a premium member for months, and it has paid for years of membership. And, that's I appreciate that, Sam, very, very much. Obviously, we have ups and downs, and it depends on what you tail. You tail the right bet, it hits. You tail the wrong one, it'll miss. Even we could be up and you hit the wrong one. We could be down, you could hit the right one. That's the reality of it. But that's why we have spent so much time and effort focusing on the tools, the information, the insight, and everything else. So it is by far the most complete package out there. $10 a month, weonpicks.com. It's not jokes, Fight Talk. When you're asking to take food out of these beautiful girls' mouths, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. The younger one has a peanut allergy. Do you know how expensive EpiPens are? Fight Talk? It's more than one membership, I'll tell you that much. Actually, do you know how expensive an EpiPen is?
Yeah, my mom has one.
Why? What's she allergic to?
Bees.
There were just so many meat things that ran through my head. And I said, bees.
See what happens.
No, I like your mom.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it to me either.
Okay. Next up at UFC Vegas 77, we have Austin Lingo, Dallas's own. His father runs a car dealership right by my old place. Did you know that? Where Casey grew up.
The Ferrari place. That's where I got mine.
Takes on Costa. Austin Lingo 9-2 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that short notice loss to Nate Landwehr. He's taking on Melk. I'm not going to say the whole name. Costa 19-6 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off a short notice loss to Thiago Moises. A lot of these people are well-rounded, and somebody made fun of me in the comments for using the term well-rounded often. When I say well-rounded, that typically means
the better fighter.
They don't have a go-to.
Oh.
Right? Like I could say this person's a striker who can also grapple. But when I say well-rounded, like Austin Lingo is a pretty well-rounded guy.
They're like they're lots of tricks, but they're masters, and they can't master one of them. What's that phrase?
Right there, you had it. Yeah, no, it's jack of all trades, master of none. You're right there.
Got it.
Anyway, Austin Lingo can do all the things. He actually will lean more heavily on striking than anything. He's pretty light in his feet. He's got some power. He's got some speed. Mixes in elbows. Nice. He's got some solid variety. He also uses his jab well. And we haven't seen a knockout yet in the UFC from him, but he does have knockdowns in each one of his wins. He's got a 78% takedown defense, and you'll see that he was taken down and submitted in his last fight, but that was Nate Landwehr on short notice. So that takedown defense is actually artificially low if you include that last fight short notice. He's taking on Costa. That guy's well-rounded as well. Creative striker, solid grappling. His takedowns are forced, right? They're not the cleanest, smoothest takedowns, but he's strong enough. He's persistent enough. He's going to get you to the cage, work you all the way to the ground, or at least rack up some control time trying to do it. You're going to see him work for those takedowns pretty often, but I don't know why, because his striking is usually pretty solid, and he's doing well enough that he doesn't need to go to the wrestling. He is coming off that short notice loss to Thiago Moises. This is another fight where the odds, I thought they were wide at the open line. And now they're widening even more. I think this fight should be a little closer. Is that face for me?
What?
Why are you making that dumbass face?
Can we just keep going with the breakdowns?
I would just appreciate if you didn't make stupid fucking faces on my monitor. Anyway, I think this fight should be a little bit closer. Like, I get it. Melk is sort of a prospect here. He's got hands. He can grapple. But Lingo is very, very tough. He can put together some quality wins. I think a full camp Melk is better than a full camp Lingo. But I'm not going to put my money on him. I think this is a really good fight for us to find out how good both of these guys are. So I think Austin Lingo's got a little bit of a short stick here with his last couple of opportunities. And, I wouldn't be surprised if he came out here, was more game than people expected. But Melk's going to be the pick. He is the pick. But no bet. I'm not confident at 2-1 odds. What do you think?
You and Austin have the same tattoo, don't you?
Mine doesn't, encompass my nipple.
You want to roll up that sleeve for the people?
It's quite large and ridiculous.
Hell yeah.
I would get it removed if I could. Honestly, I should get it removed. I'm 40. I got it at 19 years old. Somebody was like,
shit.
I couldn't imagine being 40 with a tribal tattoo. It's like, yeah, me either, dude. I got to wear long sleeves at work and shit.
Me either. I never thought. Just every time you get out of the shower, look in the mirror, just fucking
like, fuck,
damn
what am I doing? I got these little
long
girls.
sleeve shirt today.
Especially I work from home and I dress like a homeless person half the time. People must look at me and be like, that's what drugs do to you.
Man, she must make a lot of money.
Yeah, how do they afford that house? Look at him.
Holy shit, the guy's just always just walking the dog throughout the middle of the day, talking on the phone, doing nothing. Holy shit, what a bum.
They definitely assume. Okay, that one I felt like you actually wanted to say. Go ahead. Do your stuff.
Yeah, so when it comes to this fight, I think there's no doubt that Costa is the more well-rounded fighter, in my opinion. Austin Lingo, as you mentioned, can do pretty much anything, but when he is striking, what he wants to do is basically just all boxing. I mean, he's moving forward, boxing, throwing kind of the same combinations, but he's a tough dude, and he makes it work, and that's how he wins his fights. He will just kind of methodically break down his opponents through his boxing. And he really struggled against Nate Landwehr when Nate started getting the distance, landing some kicks, and obviously got the fight to the ground. And if I'm coasting this matchup, that's what I do. I shoot the takedowns. I work the grappling. And that is the easiest path to victory against Austin Lingo, because you don't really want to box with this guy. Because if he starts boxing with this guy, this fight could turn very, very interesting, very, very fast. And when I watch Costa fight, he's got the grappling, he's got the wrestling, but that dude does like to strike. And he likes doing the spinning stuff and the wild stuff. And he is a much better kicker than he is boxer, but he will get in the pocket and boom, boom, boom. He's one of those guys that when he eats a shot, he's smiling, he's laughing, he's not taking it serious. And against a guy like Austin Lingo, you don't want to be doing that type of stuff. So I'm going Costa because he's got the tools to win the fight. But there could be a moment in this fight in the first round where if he's just standing there and boxing with this guy, Austin Lingo, he's going to end up getting broken down, probably lose the second round, probably lose the third round, could lose his fight. So I hope that he's wrestling. I hope that he's dynamic with the striking. But if he stays in the pocket with Austin Lingo, I mean, this fight could be fucked. So I don't trust Costa quite as much as probably a lot of people do, but he should win, right? I mean, I think he should win.
So you and I had the exact same read on this? Why were you making faces?
What are you talking about?
Before, when I was breaking it down, you were like...
That's the Mandela effect. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Your universes is different than my universes. We're in different... I don't know what's happening these days, but something's weird happening. I know that.
Girls, lay down. It's unbelievable. Tiffany's
fuck
like...
down.
It's unbelievable. Like, they insist on sleeping together in the summer. But all they do is, like, jump on top. They have their own rooms, their own everything. They insist on sleeping together, and then it's brutal.
Didn't you and your brother sleep together until you were in high school?
No.
No?
No.
I thought that's why he's so short, because you kept him as Little Spoon for fucking 17 years.
That's what you get, Vinny. That's what you get,
He just stunted his growth. Every night he's just curled up underneath Angelo.
Just kids catching
Can't grow
strays
an
for
inch.
no reason whatsoever.
Angelo's growing inches, though, that night.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, you and I have the same read on this, which would mean that $9,100 in DraftKings for Mel Costa is probably a bit much, right? I don't see him winning by finish. Austin Lingo's a little too tough to get finished on his feet like that.
Right, yeah.
And Melk's not going to out-grapple him. So,
I agree.
Look at us, 2 peas in a pod.
You know, when I broke down this fight, I thought there was a chance that Costa might be the underdog, and I liked him as an underdog. But then I saw the odds, and I was like, oh, man, yeah.
And it's widening. You know what? There's going to be some really weird line movement on this card because it's a sketchy card. So what happens is people that shouldn't be massive favorites end up becoming massive favorites. And then, you know, it looks even worse than it actually is. So this might be one of those
Robert
spots.
Whitaker money. A bunch of idiots.
I literally might have never been more confident in a fight pick in my entire life.
You know,
than Robert Whitaker destroying Dricus Duplessis.
Was the Yasmin. The Yasmin one pissed me off so much because this is why the Yasmin one pissed me off, because there were so many people that were like, oh, Denise Gomes knocked out Brazil. By the way, she's my lock of the week. Knocked out Brazil, and Yasmin just got knocked down in her last fight too. So, and they made this easy little 1 + 1 = 2 connection, which hardly ever works, and it's so easy and so lazy, and it fucking worked. And everyone's like, I told you. It's like, holy shit. Yasmin wins that fight. Fucking, I would have said 10 out of 10, but 9 out of 10 times. I'm telling you.
No, I mean, I saw that one. We walked into the arena while that was happening.
Well,
and I was like,
and you're watching slow motion going, no.
Dude, walking into that arena
like a
was
fucking movie.
Well, we have Clear. You know what Clear is? The eyeball thing. At the
Oh,
airports.
wow. Here we go. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So we have Clear. It's not like it's dumb expensive. Anybody?
Wow. No, say it more.
Anyway, we have
Clear.
Clear. We do. It's at the arena. So we walk in, you know, we went to dinner at Gordon Ramsay's and we go to the arena and there's this huge line. We see people with the Clear shirts. So I go, we have Clear. They go, all right, come with me. It's like a second back door. And we walked in like on the floor through the tunnels, come popping out like right into the arena, and I just see Yasmin falling like a tree. It was like, holy shit. That's what we walked in on. It was awesome.
When I went there, awesome. 285, when I walked in, Bruce Buffer was like, Tabitha, reach.
Oh, that's when you got there?
Yeah, right during those introductions. I was like, yeah, oh yeah, rock hard.
A couple of things while we're talking about it. Dixon said he wanted to know about the beef Wellington. I ate it. Gordon Ramsay's steak. If you watch Hell's Kitchen, then you know beef Wellington is like his meal.
I thought it was shepherd's pie.
Not at his fancy restaurant.
I think
shepherd's pie is like his favorite mom's meal or something. Anyway, you could cut this thing. You know what beef Wellington is?
Of course.
It's a fillet. It's a fillet.
I mean, we're gonna cut. Of course I do. Yeah, of course.
I'll explain it for everybody else.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a fillet. No, go ahead. It's a fillet.
Yeah,
you can say the rest.
Wrapped in prosciutto, like a mushroom confit, and then puff pastry, and then it's baked to medium rare. Basically a steak shoved inside a pastry. Right. You could have cut it with a spoon. It was so. It was unbelievable. So that's your answer to your question, Dixon. And then somebody said, I heard the Bud Light seltzers were $19 at the arena. So I didn't get I like High Noons or just straight vodka club. I got a vodka club. Guess how much? All right, so Tiffany and I ordered, she got some.
Well, I know the answer,
spritz.
so you're asking me.
Tiffany ordered an Aperol Spritz. I ordered a vodka.
A what?
Aperol Spritz. It's champagne, Aperol, and something else. It's like fluffy, special, whatever. Anyway,
what happened to just getting some beers, man? What happened? That's what's wrong with this country.
Beer makes
it's
bloats.
People like you that's wrong with this country. You
It's
can't
the
just go and
pickup
just
driving.
get a couple. You can't just get a couple fucking beers and just fucking have
The
the time
people
of
who
your life.
drink, the people who drink in high noons instead of beer, and the people driving pickup trucks that don't put dirt in the back. You're ruining this country. Anyway, she ordered her drink. I ordered mine. Fairness to the arena, mine was a double, $98. $98. And I literally said, I think you rung up the wrong drinks. And she goes, no. I go, how are 2 drinks $98?
Sticker shock.
She goes, yours is a double.
You go.
Double.
You spit it. You just spit it back in. No, thanks. Actually, we're just gonna pass.
I could not believe it, and I literally was like, you know me, I don't care, I'll say whatever. I was like, this is outrageous, and she was
Can
like,
I speak to a manager?
She goes, we raised our prices after we won the Stanley Cup.
You said we. You should have went we. We.
So, and then I had the exact same routine with a different guy at a different bar area because I was walking around the arena. There was a lot of time to kill.
Looking for better prices.
The lady on the floor said it's probably cheaper upstairs. No joke. So we're like, fuck it, let's go upstairs. Maybe it's cheaper.
Was taking the fucking elevator to the top to save $3.
So this time I met up with the pick doctor was actually at the fight. So I met up with him. I bought him and his wife beers. And I made the same comment. I made the same comment to the guy, the guy serving him, and he goes, "Not only are they $23, they didn't raise my pay. I only get $10 an hour." It's like, Jesus. Hey, I didn't need to know how much
you tip him.
Well, that's the thing. He turned the thing.
I only make $10 an hour. So
it's just gonna ask you a quick question.
And then it's like at the bottom here, it's like scrolling at the top of the tip bar. I only make $10 an hour.
He's just gonna ask you a quick.
And then
question.
there's like after like the 30%, it's like all like sparkly and like popping out. It's like this big on the screen.
Dude, I had two different purchases today. What were my 2 purchases?
Amazon Day.
No, my daughter the youngest didn't want to go to school today. So I was like, if you go to school, after school, you can have a treat. So I pick her up.
Wait, what? Like a dog?
She wanted a treat, like a sweet treat, like a donut hole or something.
You're gonna get your treat.
Like a donut hole or something. Anyway, so I pick her up. Right next to her school is like 2 different like treat places. One of them, we walk in. My one daughter's like, I want a little ice cream. So we go to Quinn. It's fucking daycare. You're 20 years old. You don't get it.
Quinn's going to a Blink concert, and he literally is like 20. I'm like, you don't even know who the fuck Blink is.
So anyway, we go in, and the one machine said tip. It was a $3 ice cream, and it was like 15%, 20%, whatever. So I just did 15%. The other one, I bought little pretzel bites or whatever, and I think it was like $4, same type thing. But this was $1, $2, $3 tips. So they got $1. That's the move. That's the move. If you're gonna guilt people in the tips, put the dollar amount, not the percentage.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
you can't just give these poor high school kids an extra $2. Fuck that, huh? Working summer jobs. Angel's like, fuck you. Well.
Okay. Hold on 1 second, Jacob. Hold on. Please hold. Say something while I yell at these children.
All right. Angelo's going to try and convince you guys that Viktoriya is going to win this fight, and don't fucking listen to a word he's about to fucking say on this fight because he is fucking clueless. So he's gonna do his whole song and dance about everything. Don't fucking listen to a word he's about to say because I got all the intel on this fight. He's having a full-on conversation.
I said, girls, I have to film tonight, so you're not sleeping in the same room. And then they were like all sweet and nice before bed, so I let them sleep in the same room. Now look at this. Anyway, next up at UFC Vegas 77, we have Viktoriya Dudakova taking on Istela Nunes. Why is this guy shitting on my graphics? What's wrong with this graphic?
He just said He just says a secondary graphics guy. What is your deal, man? Holy shit! He's just saying like, hey, if you guys need extra help.
Oh, I'm just
holy
my
shit.
bad. My bad. I'm used to making mistakes. I thought that's what it was. Anyway, we have Viktoriya Dudakova taking on Istela Nunes. Viktoriya Dudakova, undefeated. 6-0 in her career. She's coming back after successful knee surgery as well. She's taking on Istela Nunes, 6-4 overall, 1-4 in her last 5. She's looking for a UFC win at all costs. Istela is 0-3 in the UFC. She's having a little bit of a rough go out of it. She only has 10 MMA fights, but she does have a very long, extensive kickboxing career. She's fast. She's got solid power, incredibly versatile striking offense. If you ignore her actual MMA record and just watch her fight, you're going to see that she's dangerous. She's live in pretty much every fight. And while her striking is dangerous, her grappling does need a little bit of work. She's coming off that loss to Yasmin Yaryui, where we mentioned earlier, she did have a knockdown to start that fight. She's taking on Viktoriya Dudakova, who is a very exciting fighter. She's going to come across the cage. She is going to let her hands fly. She's either going to keep striking distance, which she's done, or she's going to work in some grappling. Her striking is clean. It's powerful. Her BJJ is slick. You're going to find tape of her shooting blast doubles as well as defending takedowns and firing away. She's impressive for somebody only 6-0 in her MMA career. And if she's built the right way, she can be a big deal. I'm very high on Viktoriya in this fight. Just a few weeks ago, we had Ivana Petrovic. She was a huge bust. She was a huge bust. On paper, they seem similar, but they're not similar. Ivana was a jiu-jitsu nerd fighting an actual UFC veteran that had some solid fights under her belt. Viktoriya is fighting Istela, who's basically just a kickboxer in an MMA cage. I think Viktoriya can get this to the ground. I think Viktoriya can finish this fight. Viktoriya has proven to be tough. She's proven to have gas. I think she can absolutely be the real deal here. I love her. I liked her at -250. I love her at -204. I think she wins this fight. Jacob's going to tell you otherwise. I'll tell you right now, she's one of my most confident picks on a sketchy-ass card. Go ahead.
Can I have your promise that you're not going to interrupt me? Because I didn't interrupt you. I didn't say a word. He won't make that promise.
Go ahead.
Listen here, guys. Please. I just want to make sure that they understand that this is not a joke. This is not anything of that sort. This is a serious matter, and this is a serious fight, and we want to have a serious conversation about this fight. What I need everyone to do is watch Vic. I'll call her Vic. In her fights. Just watch Vic, especially that Contender Series fight. And I know at the end of the second round, she blew out her knee, so that is what it's got to take down in the third round with a blown out knee. Very impressive. I will give her that. But just kind of really watch her and watch some of those takedowns that she's getting on people, and then watch, the striking that Angelo's saying is clean and powerful, and then watch Istela Nunes. Okay, because Istela Nunes is a two-time Muay Thai champion, record of 50-4 in Muay Thai, and you see the takedown defense improving every single fight against Ariane Carnelossi. Some good takedown defenses early in that fight. Eventually was worn down, but she's getting worn down, and she does get tired later in the fight. Talking about Istela here. But she is getting worn down because she is just beating the absolute fuck out of these girls for like 7-8 minutes, and they will not go down. Ariane Carnelossi is a very, very tough, durable girl. I mean, Istela is just lighting her ass up, and then eventually gets tired, and then she starts getting taken down, then she gets submitted. Against Sam Hughes, she won that fight. She got a point deducted, and then it was a majority draw. She won that fight, and she got tired after beating the absolute fuck out of Sam Hughes for 5, 7, 8, 9 minutes of that fight. Sam Hughes just a heavy bag, and Istela was defending takedowns absolutely fine early on in that fight. Against Yasmin, defended a couple takedowns as well. Dropped Yasmin, but you see the improvements every single fight. Yes, she is 6-4, but she could easily be 9-1 and a girl in this division because her striking is fast. She is light on her feet. It's going to be the footwork, the circling out, and the power shots landed on this girl, Vic, that is going to put her the fuck out. I love Istela Nunes in this matchup to get it done. She has good takedown defense early. Vic is not overwhelming in her wrestling, in her grappling. She's just kind of a lay and pray type person, even if she gets you down. But I don't see any explosive takedowns from her. Istela can defend the kind of body lock takedowns. You've seen it time and time again. Just watch the same videos, watch the Carnelossi. She is constantly, when people push her against the cage, shedding them off for the first round and a half. That is all it's going to take. Istela Nunes is going to knock this girl the fuck out.
Completely disagree. I know what he said because him and I have been fighting about this all week in text messages. I mean, I'm willing to bet you whatever amount of money you'd like to bet.
Well, you said $1,000, but you said it was straight up. I'm not doing straight up.
But if you're that confident, if you're that confident,
if you're that confident, then give me the fucking odds. I mean, the odds move. I should take the fucking plus 400 odds because that's what she fucking opened up as. If you're so confident,
that's how betting works. Idiot.
I'll give you. We'll bet 1,000 if you give me 1,750 back. I'll do that. That's odds, and those are very low odds compared to what they used to be.
No,
it should be 2 to 1.
No, I'm gonna let the line continue to move, and we'll do it at the end of the week. You're the one insisting.
No, it's good. You don't have to. Yeah, we get it. Okay. We all get it.
Sure.
We all get it.
So, Jacob, how much money will you be betting on her through the bookies with your plus 174 odds?
It's going to be a lot. Tune in for that live stream. This one is going to be a lot of fun.
I assume it's thousands. Why do we have to wait for the live stream?
It's going to be a lot of fun because that's what we do for the live stream.
The line's tightening. Oh, okay. Surprised you don't have thousands of dollars on it right now.
And by the way, that last fight against Yasmin was like that was a like an early stop, and she was just on her back and was like covering up and was defending shots and looking at her and Keith Peters was like stop because she was like, what the fuck are you doing? Why'd you stop the fight? She'd get dropped, but I mean Vic is her striking is terrible.
Okay, should be fun to watch. Hey, you know what I did buy? People keep talking about shoeies. Have you seen those? I'm like turning into a college kid all over again. Have you seen those Kraken things?
Get on the neck. Get the snake around coming up there.
Have you seen the Kraken things on TikTok?
No.
It's like a shotgun device. You like click it into your beer. Just.
Oh yeah, I actually saw one of those today. Yeah. But a guy did it with a fucking Sprite, with like a 16-ounce Sprite.
And he didn't burp.
I know, he was like, but I mean, that video stopped pretty quick. He was like, tune in for the next one. And then it just shut off. Like,
how did you do that? Anyway, I bought 2 of those because fuck it. I actually bought them because I'm like, Jacob and I, because it's not messy. Like, I'm not going to shotgun a beer in my office. I live in a house. Like, this isn't a basement. But if I figure out how to use this thing.
You could have.
I didn't go
in on you. I live in a house.
You.
This isn't an apartment.
I didn't go in on you. You're my friend.
I was kind of wishing you would.
Oh, I wasn't going to do that. I looked you right in the eyes and thought about it big time, but I didn't. Anyway, I was
instead you threw Joey T under the bus.
No, but he has got the tarp.
Oh, no, it's a sheet. It's a sheet.
It's ironed.
And that's a 80 thread count sheet.
It's just see-through. It's a sheer sandpapery sheet. Anyway, I bought 2 of those because I was like, I'll give one to Jacob, and we started arguing about this shit. We could do one of those or something. I'm turning into a college kid. We played beer pong at my house last weekend. I'm Benjamin Button. I'm aging in reverse.
How much do you have on Vic?
She's in the safety parlay. So,
because you
think $100.
Yeah, so. You kind of said that he was one of your most confident picks, so I just curious.
Yeah, I bet a couple $100 a weekend tops, like a human, like a person, unlike you, 1,800, 2,000. Anyway, become a premium member. You can see the other half of that safety parlay. Now you probably don't want it because you don't think she's going to win, but I'm telling you, I'm very, very confident in her.
It's a lock.
The other half of this. She's my lock of the week. Ooh, funny video.
Guess what? Lawsuit coming your way, buddy. I've been waiting for that. Let's go.
I'm the second Guido. The second Guido on YouTube that you're going to attack for saying lock of the week. Fucking Muppet bitch. Anyway, we on Picks.com. It's only $10 a month. You can unlock everything, including the safety parlay, which I promise you will get back on track. And this is the fight to do it. This is the fight to do it.
Yeah, I promise you the lock of the week's going to get back on track, and this might be the fight to do it.
Here's the beauty of it, it's not only her last performance. You can't base somebody's entire career off their last performance. If that were the case, then Robbie Lawler, based off of his last performance, was going to get knocked out by Nico Price. Can't do that, pal. Can't do that, pal.
Just watch your fights. That's all I ask.
I did. You just made it up. Anyway, fuck off.
Yeah, I don't.
Next up, at
Win the main
UFC
card?
Vegas 77, we're right there. At UFC Vegas 77, we Evan Elder taking on Genaro Valdez. Evan Elder, 7-2 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He is coming off that grappling loss to Natan Levy. He's taking on Genaro Valdez, 10-2 overall, 3-2 in his last 5.
I think it's Genaro.
He is Genaro. I got the flags mixed up. I need that graphics guy. Fight Talk only. Where are you at, man? I need some fucking help with these graphics.
Would that be Yvonne? No.
Yeah, I got the graphics. Oh, God, it's so fucking sloppy. Anyway, Genaro Valdez, incredibly well-rounded guy. I love saying well-rounded. He's primarily a grappler, though. He does have absolutely no issues getting into a slugfest. His striking can be wild. It can be fun. He uses it really well to set up those takedowns. He's only 1-2 in the UFC, but he has had an interesting run. He dominated his Contender Series win with 4 takedowns, a knockdown, and a second-round finish. And then he fought Matt Frivola. He was knocked down 4 times, which honestly just talks about how tough he is. And then most recently, he was completely outgrappled by Natan Levy. He's been in a whole bunch of different fights that looked very different ways. He's taking on Evan Elder. This guy's very talented. He's good everywhere. He's got loose striking. He lands heavy kicks, solid punching combinations. He's got nice takedowns as well. And when he hits the mat, he's going to stay composed and he's methodically going to work for control while still managing to land strikes and just rain down from the top. He does have solid submission defense. We saw that in his loss to Preston Parsons. He's coming off that loss to Nazim Sadikov where he had a knockdown, which was good. Striking looks solid overall.
Cool.
Takedown looks solid.
Cool.
He's just way too hittable, and that's the problem here. This line's moving like crazy.
Oh.
What?
Well, sounds like we see this fight the same way, Angie.
Maybe. I thought you picked... Well, we'll find out in a second. Anyway, the fact that he's hittable is the problem. More than a 3-1 favorite seems way wider than it needs to be. Both these guys have back-to-back losses. Both of them have lost to both grapplers and strikers. I think that Evan is actually probably going to win, so that's why I don't know if we read this the same way. I think he's probably going to win because I think he's just a tiny bit better everywhere except just straight-up BJJ. But he is very, very hittable, and he needs to stay out of trouble here because Genaro Valdez can crack, and I'm not laying down minus 326 on a guy that gets hit that often. So Evan Elder's the pick, but I'm fading the bet here. What do you think, Jakey boy?
I 100% agree. I'm going with Evan Elder because his path to victory should be so obvious. It should just be the wrestling, the grappling, the control. Slow down this guy, Valdez, because he is going to be live early. Get all the danger away. Put him on his back and just win the fight that way. And Evan Elder has the ability to do that. He can get the takedowns. He can have the control. But Evan Elder will strike, and he is a pretty decent striker. But Angelo nailed it. He does get hit. He got clipped in his last fight. And if there's a guy you do not want to be in the pocket and box against, it is Valdez. I know he can get dropped as well. And maybe Evan Elder is coming in this fight knowing he's getting dropped and thinking, oh, I want to knock this guy out too. And all of a sudden, Valdez is landing the shots. When he lands heavy. I mean, he almost knocked out Frivola in that matchup. Even when he was hurt, he lands heavy. Against Natan Levy, he was getting destroyed by Natan Levy's kicks. But in the boxing exchanges, he was winning pretty much every single boxing exchange against Natan Levy. If he comes in, speaking of Evan Elder, if he comes in and tries to just stand and bang, this is a fucking coin toss fight. I mean, this turns into a 50-50 fight. But if he comes in with the game plan, with the wrestling, on the feet, throw some kicks, keep your distance, and do not try to just stand in the pocket and box this guy. It should be an easy win. So Evan Elder could come in and look like, oh my God, he should have been a minus 600 favorite with the wrestling or whatever. Or he could come in and be like, holy fuck, he just fucked up my parlay. I don't know what to expect. I love Evan Elder, former lock of the week. Got the cut. He was on his way to winning that fight. The cut stopped, that was a couple months ago, but he's a tough dude, man. I love Evan Elder, and he should dominate this fight. I mean, he should dominate this fight, but we'll see what the game plan is.
I'm surprised. I am surprised we both read that the same way. I thought you would have agreed with this line movement. But again, what I say earlier, right? It's a sketchy card. So mid-level favorites are going to balloon up to giant favorites because people just feel like they have to put their money on something, and there's
Probably some FOMO too. Anytime you see that a lot, anytime the line starts moving, it just also it'll just keep moving because people are like, holy shit, why is it moving? Let me throw some money on it before it moves more, like stocks.
Well, and I pump the line movement tracker because I think it's very important to see that movement, because to do exactly what I do, where I watch the tape, first I look at my notes, then I'll go ahead and watch tape if I need to. I'll break it down. Then I'll look at the odds. And I'm almost just like, Jesus Christ, those are the odds. And then I'll look at what the opening odds were, and it's like, what? This is the trend? And it'll actually make me less confident, because if I only saw the minus 326 and didn't see what it opened at, I actually probably would have been a little more confident in Evan Elder. I probably would have been like, okay, all right. But the fact that I saw what the opening odds were, then I saw the current odds, I was like, no, that is actually what it should have been. And it actually helps me stay away from spots like this. So if you want to get yourself access to that line movement tracker, it's only $10 a month for every single thing we've ever done at WeWantPicks.com. DraftKings, $9,400, full fade at $9,400. He's not a finisher. And Genaro Valdez is a pretty tough guy. He's not going to get finished.
That could end up being, like I said, kind of like if you want to play that money line too. It could look like the best value or the worst value. I think what's worth the sprinkle in this. You can get Genaro Valdez round 1 KO TKO, because I think that's pretty much the only time he's really going to be like super live. Plus 1,100 for that. I think that's worth the sprinkle. That's
What's
good value.
A sprinkle to you? Serious question. I'm not being a dick.
If I was sprinkling that and my units are $100, I'd put like 10, 15 on it just to.
It's funny because it's funny talking in units and then talking in real money, because we talk in units for your sake, because some of you bet, just $10 a fight, which is totally fine. Some of you bet $1,000. So the reason you talk in units is it normalizes all of it. So if I say 1 unit, that means I'm pretty confident. And if your units are $10, okay, I'll do a unit. That's why we talk in units. But my units
are a little different too. Mine are $100, but typically when people are betting $100, they're not betting as much as me on a card, because I'm putting $1,500 to $3,000 on a card.
Yeah, in reality, your units are probably too small with the amount of money you're spending.
Right.
But
yeah.
Anyway, my point is, last week at UFC 290, so unit for me is $100. A lot of my bets are less than a unit. A lot of half a unit, like $50 bets, stuff like that. I threw $20 on what's his name, because it would have paid $240. So in my mind, I'm like, it's $20. Who cares? But then when you put it on paper and it's 0.2 units, but then I only have a quarter of a unit on a round line that I'm actually somewhat confident in, it's just funny how that muddies the water when you talk like real dollars versus just units. So that's why I was curious. Because a sprinkle to me is, I agree, it's $20. It's $20. Who cares? But then when I log the actual bets at that same number, it's like, well, I do care about that. That's not $20. That's a quarter of a unit. So it's just so funny talking like that. Yeah. Just random silence.
Well, I don't know.
First of all,
what the point of
I don't know. It was on me.
Yeah, you lost me halfway through that.
There was no point. I just thought it was interesting. First of all, we have 290 something people watching live right now.
Like the stream, yeah.
I was just going to say thank you, because there are 2 other shows that decide to go live on Tuesdays as well.
Oh my God, here we go.
And the collective viewership between those 2 shows was 174. We have more than 100 total viewers than those 2 shows combined, and we're maybe halfway done. That does not go unnoticed. Thank you all very, very, very much. Genuinely, it is appreciated. Okay, shut that off. Jesus Christ. Next up at UFC Vegas 77, we have Alex Munoz taking on Carl Deaton III. Alex Munoz 6-2 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He is coming back after 2 years away. You're going to hear me say that quite a few times on this card. He's taking on Carl Deaton III, 17-6 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off the decision loss to Joseph Selecki. Carl Deaton is a wrestler. He's patient on his feet. He chooses his shots pretty well. He doesn't just come charging in looking for takedowns. When he's comfortable, he's going to plot forward, throw big 1-2s, and then set up those shots. He has plenty of speed and cardio, but the power just isn't there. When he ties his wrestling in with his striking, he can do pretty well, but again, he's not really that dangerous. There's not a lot of finishing power in the mix. He's coming off that loss to Joe Selecki where he gave up 2 takedowns and 9 minutes of control time. And the odds here are a little interesting because Alex Munoz, well, first of all, Carl Deaton was just out wrestling Al Grapple. He's taking on Alex Munoz. Alex Munoz is a very, very good wrestler who at one point, and he might still be, the Team Alpha Male wrestling coach. One of the better wrestling gyms in the country as far, MMA gyms that use wrestling. He is coming back after 2 years away, but that was an ACL surgery, which he's insisting he was training the whole time, better than ever, all that bullshit. But if you believe it, great. He has 9 takedowns in 3 UFC fights, but he does have a negative striking differential. His striking is just not up to snuff, or at least it wasn't 2 years ago. He's coming off the loss to Luis Pena in 2021, where he did have 4 takedowns, and it still wasn't enough to get it done. I say the line is interesting because Carl Deaton's a wrestler, and he is not going to be the better wrestler here. He just isn't. So now we're expecting a lesser wrestler to out-wrestle the better wrestler. I'm not trying to be rude or disparaging, but there's always somebody better, especially when it comes to something like wrestling.
Not in my life.
Okay. And Alex Munoz is literally he's better at Carl's best thing. But Alex Munoz's striking sucked. It just wasn't very good. The knee injury may have been the best thing that happened to him because maybe he took the time, focused on the striking. Song Yudong is at that gym who has phenomenal striking. They've brought in some solid strikers and some solid striking coaches. Maybe that has elevated Alex Munoz's striking game as well because his wrestling was there. He fought my good friend Nick Newell. Very frustrating fight to watch. That was a damn it moment. Nick almost had that guillotine. But if Alex does work in some actual solid striking, not just a big lunging power type striking, he's going to be a real threat. I think he wins this fight. I'm actually pretty confident in this. And the only reason I haven't laid out very real money on Alex is because that 2-year layoff. You just don't know. You can't go by interviews. Everybody says they're amazing in interviews, and then they go out there and you hear about all the bullshit.
Kevin Lee. Best I've ever felt. Now he's retired. That's did he retire? I saw the UFC. Yeah, he retired today. And he said he was proud because he went out on a shield, and then his retirement speech too. He's like, "I've never not shown up for a fight. I've never." It's like, I love Kevin Lee, man. Do you talk about living in a different reality? That guy lives in a different reality than everyone else.
So anyway, I think Alex Munoz, I'm very confident in Alex. Again, my only hesitation without laying out over a unit on this is the freaking 2-year layoff. You just don't know what the hell that means. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I almost completely agree with the entire breakdown. The 2 years is a red flag. If you do look at his Instagram, he definitely is in the gym working hard. All these guys are in the gym working hard. Just some are on Instagram and some are not. And I kind of wish that more male fighters would kind of join and be active on Instagram while they're maybe no gi, maybe no shirt. And Carl loved the ponytail as well. But listen, Alex Munoz is the better wrestler, but he does have question marks because on the feet, he does look a bit lost. And the biggest thing is gas tank. I have seen him gas in fights. If he can't get the takedowns, he starts getting beat up on the feet. And once he's getting beat up on the feet, he just kind of do. Now he will tough it out, right? Because he's a tough guy. He's not a quitter some people there. We'll get to those points. They will quit. He will tough it out, and he will try to continue with the takedowns, and he will continue with the striking. But that is another red flag. 2 years off. Maybe he comes in, looks great in the first round, and then all of a sudden that adrenaline dump. Now he's getting hit in the face because I do believe Carl's the better striker in this matchup. So I agree. This should be an Alex Munoz play, but I'm staying away from it. You don't need to bet. This is actually kind of advice to myself right now. You don't have to bet every single fight. All right, you don't have to bet every single fight. All right, you hear me? You don't have to bet every single fight. And Alex might be one where it's like, let's see what he is, and then next fight we might bet on him.
I agree because for sure it's almost too obvious that Alex wins this. It's almost too obvious. So it's 2 years away, and there's 3 people on this card that have multi-year layoffs. Alex is the only one that I'm like, ooh, maybe. Should I?
He did cut the
maybe hair. We get lucky with the takedown line.
And
maybe they mess up.
Shit.
Alex Munoz is?
Yeah, gee, oh, fuck, man. Alex, hey, no disrespect, man. That's good to you, man. Fuck. What a life that must be like.
Are you about to cry? I do think $8,300 on DraftKings might be some of the best value you're going to get on this card because takedowns rack up points. And if Alex does what we think he should do or what he would have done without a 2-year layoff, he should get a whole bunch of takedowns and score a whole bunch of points that way. So $8,300 probably very, very solid DraftKings pricing. What do you think, Jakey boy?
It probably is, honestly. Should be. I mean, it should be. I mean, he should dominate. I mean, he should look like a 300 favorite in this matchup.
I completely agree. We mentioned 2-year layoffs. Kind of a red flag, but in DraftKings, I'll take that shot. WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 a month. You unlock everything you've ever wanted or needed. Our DraftKings community is probably one of the strongest DraftKings community out there. They have won over $150,000 playing DraftKings in the last 2 months. I haven't even gone back to 6 months ago when Joe Todoro won $60,000.
Joey T.
Those are only premium members, so unlock the same tools that they have access to at WeWantPicks.com. It is only 10 doll hairs a month.
10 Carl Deaton hairs.
Those are way more than 10.
Because it looks like a doll hair. And the doll with it.
Good job.
That was layered. That's
good stuff there. Dude, I just got a text from Tiffany. She texted one of the neighborhood group chats.
I think I hear gunshots.
No, she just bought a new car.
Who?
Tiffany. I'm like so annoyed. I'm so annoyed.
Oh, shit.
All because my parents visited last week. So she's got the bigger Volvo SUV. It has a third row seat. Shut up.
Angel's got a lot of money, guys. I'm still sitting in this
She
fucking
has her
apartment.
own-
Your wife's buying new cars, and I'm looking around at this fucking little ass apartment.
She pays all her own bills. Tiffany pays her own bills. She's got her own job, makes her own money, buys her own car. Anyway, so my parents were visiting last week, and my grandmother, my stepfather was like folding down the back seat and sitting in the trunk, which was like, what the fuck are you doing? There's a third row. Sit in the third row like a person. So anyway, Tiffany's like, when people visit, that we can't, I'm just going to look. I'm like, don't, Tiff, don't. You don't know how to just look. Don't. And the way I find out she went out and spent money.
Touch. That's what I tell the girls on Friday nights at the bar. You can look, but you can't touch.
Texted the neighbors. I bought the same truck as you, but in black, so I'm not a copycat. All I wrote was Jesus Christ.
His and hers. Holy shit.
No, not as me.
Your fucking life. First the vasectomy, now she's buying a better truck than you. Fucking.
No, she didn't. No, that was to the neighbor.
Who drove you guys to the airport?
She was. I took that video.
Who drove you guys to the airport?
It was Tiffany's car, so she drove.
Angelo's sitting in the passenger seat filming. We're going to have such a fun trip today.
I didn't put that video.
Hopefully she'll stop for Starbucks.
That video didn't make its way.
Trying to be one of those cute fucking
vlog.
Facebook videos. And I'm not going to tell him that I brought my new panties.
You know Tiffany well enough to know that she's not that kind of sweet. She's all sour. Next up at UFC Vegas 77, we have Tyson Nam taking on UFC new newcomer Azat Maksum. Tyson Nam, 20 Maksum.
You like Maksum? That was one of my favorites.
Tyson Nam, 21-13 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off the submission loss to Bueno Silva, taking on Azat Maksum, undefeated in his career, 16-0, making his UFC debut. Tyson Nam, we all know him at this point. He's a pacing striker. He's got some insane power in his hands, some solid takedown defense as well. His striking is technical. He's got really, really nice counters. And while he does have a ton of power for this weight class, he doesn't really have the same speed as the rest of the weight class. He can be a little slow, a little bit of a step behind. He's 3-4 in the UFC. All 3 wins are by knockout, but he's 39 years old and his chin is probably officially gone. You're going to see that he was submitted in his last fight, but that dude was dropped big time before that submission. He's taking on
Nobody has ever eaten a shot like that. I mean, that was a front kick that literally split his fucking jaw open or his chin open. And he just hit the ground and was like, whoa, okay, still fighting there. I don't know how he survived that.
I mean, it is crazy. And he's just I hate that it was a 3-month turnaround. He should have taken a little longer, especially at his age. Anyway, he's taking on Azat.
Time's running out.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the other side of that.
42?
39.
I think he's 42.
He's taking on Azat Maksum. This dude is fast. He's dangerous. He brings an incredible skill set into this fight. He can pick most people apart on their feet with just solid techniques. He can drop them with power. He can out-scramble them. He can out-wrestle them. He can out-grapple them. He's genuinely a very good prospect. One of the better new signings that we've seen in a while. His composure is impressive as well. Like, he comes in there with some veteran composure, even if he gets himself into some tough spots. And he's comfortable everywhere and has beaten every style of fighter. We have seen him beat people who come at him with wrestling. We've seen him beat people who come at him with striking, pure grapplers. Like, this kid did it right as far as building himself up to then get into the UFC.
Yeah, that's not a hollow 16-0.
Correct. He fought, and that's why I made it a point to say he fought every kind of fighter. Lots of times you get these regional foreigners that only fight the primary discipline in that region, and then they run into some buzzsaw American wrestler. They have nothing to offer, right? That is not Azat. American
wrestling's got nothing.
You know what the problem is with American wrestling is we wrestle a completely different style your entire life, from when you're 5 years old to 23 years old, and then you have to change it up to compete internationally. It makes no sense. Everybody needs to get together and say high school is now freestyle wrestling. Get rid of folk style. It's stupid. It's our own made-up rules, and it hurts us internationally. Anyway, I think Azat blows through Tyson Nam, and that's not disrespectful to Tyson Nam at all. I think Azat is just that good of a prospect. And Tyson Nam is probably returning a little too quickly. I hate that the UFC does this, right? Like, hey, thanks for all the amazing fights. Thanks for everything you've done. Here's a fucking buzzsaw. Let's see how good this kid actually is. Because I think he's going to be a step ahead. He's just too fast. Tyson's got the power, but he doesn't have the speed. And I think Azat's just going to do whatever he wants. I think he's going to get there ahead of time with the strikes, probably work in some takedowns and do what he needs to do. So I think Azat wins. I'm very, very comfortable with that pick. And this is one of the only fights on this card that the odds do make sense. What do you think?
I agree. And I do agree that this kid is a prospect, and he is very good, and he is very well-rounded. I think his hands are honestly underrated. He will stand in front of people, and he will win striking exchanges, and he does have some decent power in those hands, which just makes his grappling that much more effective because he can kind of dance around, and wait for that shot. He doesn't have to press the issue when it comes to the wrestling, the grappling, because he can do everything else in the fight. The issue is for this fight, and he is going to be my pick because he just does have the advantage. He's young. He's got the speed advantage. He probably doesn't have the power advantage, but he does have good power. But I did see him get dropped. I saw him get dropped in a fight. I can't remember which fight it was, but it was just a nice, clean right hand, nicely timed down the pipe that did drop him. Popped right back, won that fight. Obviously, he's undefeated. So, I mean, he did pop up in that situation. But if there's one thing that and be patient and wait to throw that. So there is an outside world where Tyson still carries that power, even at 39 years old, and he does land on this kid. He seems like he can respond, but sometimes those Tyson Nam, shots are a little bit different. But I mean, just to put that out there, that there is a possibility that weird shit could happen. But I mean, Azat should be the play. I hope he just kind of uses the wrestling, and we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't blow his load.
Well, last time Tyson Nam fought, you and I both had a wins inside the distance decision, no action.
He was my lock of the week because he just never gets finished, and I just thought, oh my goodness, he's just going to land that right hand. What was it? Bruno was coming off layoff, I think, and I was just like, this guy Tyson, he is Hawaiian tough, and I just believe in him. And he got
laid out and then submitted. I do think this might be a decent spot for that exact same bet. These odds are very, very wide. And what's Tyson Nam inside the distance decision, no action? It's probably +1. And while Azat is very dangerous, 16 wins, a whole bunch of I'm choking on success. Fuck.
I drink success for breakfast.
And then it comes back up after dinner.
You know what that is?
No.
You should.
Is that heavyweights?
You should. And then your mind went, oh, is it a heavyweight?
Was it?
Plus 275 for inside the distance decisional action.
Yeah, I may touch that. That may be worth a sprinkle.
It's almost the same as the money line. You get your money back if he loses.
Exactly. And that's the only way he's going to win. He's not going to win a decision. Well, if he does, I get a refund. Fine. No money lost. DraftKings, $6,600. Listen, if definitely not in your cash game, but certainly in a large tournament field, doing a big tournament entry, $6,600.
Something with 19,000 people in it.
Maybe 11,000. Yep. Could be worth it if he gets that knockout for sure. WeWantPicks.com is only $10 a month. You'll get everything you have ever needed to guide you in the right direction. You don't even have to go to the betting page. Just look at all the tools, the insight, the calculators, all of the raw notes, the DraftKings lineup maker. The fuck's that thing called? The optimizer, the ownership, all that. Only $10 a month.
His arm is kind of like a optical illusion.
It is. That bicep is so big, it looks like it was a bad Photoshop edit, but it isn't.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Tyson.
Neither am I. I'm talking about Azat on the right hand side. His bicep is big.
But when you look at Tyson, doesn't his left arm look fake? Because that's what you started saying that, like his bicep is huge and stuff. I'm like, Tyson's left arm looks like the fucking Winter Soldier.
I mean, the guy's look at he's got beautiful hair. He's a handsome guy.
But it looks like his arms are way different sizes, right? Confirm, please.
I don't know. Sure, yeah, different size arms. Next up. At UFC Vegas 77, we haven't even hit the main card yet. We have Ashlee Evans-Smith taking on Ailin Perez. Ashlee Evans-Smith, 6-5 overall, 1-4 in her last 5. She is coming off a USADA suspension. She's taking on Ailin Perez, 7-2 overall, 3-2 in her last 5, coming off that submission loss to Stephanie Egger and a whole bunch of canceled fights in between. This card has 3 different fighters with layoffs that are 2 years or longer, but Ashlee Evans-Smith is the only one that had that layoff because of a USADA suspension. She pissed hot. She was suspended. She's been in the UFC for almost 10 years. She's got a ton of experience despite like this small record, and she's one of the like OG Generation 1 of women's MMA. Generation 1 of women's MMA are well-rounded, right? They at least know a couple different skills because it came after, MMA became a thing, so they started training. Okay, Jesus Christ. So she's well-rounded, and she's from the day where you could just be super tough and just tough your way to some wins. She's fought everybody good. She's lost to most of them, but because she is so well-rounded, her wins and losses all look very different. For the most part, she wants to get the takedowns and grind away. She's taking on Ailin Perez. She's the one who's just twerking every scenario, every situation, anywhere she is. Her entire, like on the We Want Picks Instagram, we follow all the fighters.
You had to tell on yourself or something. My entire suggested feed is just all her, just twerking, just all the time. I watched the videos, but it's like...
Anytime I scroll through the We Want Picks Instagram, it's just her. I had to
Have you seen Ashlee's Instagram?
I had to unfollow Hannah Goldie because Hannah Goldie is just like 90% naked, and then it's just like, what am I doing? Like, Jesus.
Hell yeah.
Next time
you seen
fights,
Ashlee's Instagram?
But I hope it's not more pornography.
she's like a fucking like a vixen.
Anyway,
that's like what she does.
Ailin Perez, you may know her as the twerk machine. She twerked in the weigh-ins of her last fight and then got blown out in that fight, which was a little embarrassing for her. But she has some decent striking, nice long jab. She uses it to plot forward. She walks her opponents back. Grappling-wise, she does use her size and strength to bully people to the ground with trips and drags. When she hits the ground, she's measured, she's controlled, and she looks for positions. It's hard for me to see.
Like modeling pictures and stuff. I mean, it's like...
Okay, settle down. You never know what you're going to get when somebody comes off a 2-year layoff. We talked about that a little bit before, especially a layoff because of a substance issue. So I imagine you're lesser than, right? Because before the suspension, she was using illegal substances. Now she's not. So I imagine she's going to be a little less than what she was. I got to go with Ailin here. I think, Ailin made some really poor decisions in her last fight that gave up some takedowns and didn't look great, but she also defended 5 takedowns in that. I think Ashlee's going to be rusty. I think she's going to be a step behind. I think Ailin is going to be able to get this done. The only thing that concerns me is anytime you get somebody with the sort of experience and the toughness of Ashlee Evans-Smith, you have a real live dog situation. So Ailin's going to be the pick. Pretty confident in that, but let's not forget Ashlee Evans-Smith. If you don't know who Fallon Fox is, Fallon Fox was a man who transitioned to a woman, then fought MMA and was like breaking jaws, breaking eye sockets, destroying people. Ashlee Evans-Smith is who beat Fallon Fox and ended that whole thing. So she is tough.
What weight class? Was it a sanctioned
135. It was all sanctioned. Ronda Rousey was like very outspoken about it. And Ronda Rousey was very big on like you transition after puberty. It was a whole thing. I don't want to get into the whole thing. My point is, Ashlee is tough. She's been around for 100 years. And, I do think Ailin's going to win this fight, but based on her poor fight IQ in the last fight, I can't bet on this. What do you think, Jakey boy?
I want to give another hats off to Ashlee and her toughness as well. And she does rely on that, but she can rely on that because she is a very, very tough girl. I mean, she was getting beat up in her last fight 3 whatever years ago, but you see her just constantly just keep trying to work through situations. Even when things are not going her way, she will continue to move forward. She will continue to try to do different things. I think that she was like a high school wrestler with maybe some after high school wrestling. So she used to be a very, very experienced wrestler. I don't want to say like high level, but an experienced wrestler. And that kind of is her go-to, but you don't really see that kind of at least in that last fight. She really didn't even try to shoot a takedown and it was a little bit sloppy. And Ailin Perez in her last matchup, honestly, in the wrestling, didn't look too bad. And she definitely came to fight. I know she's got all the antics behind everything, but you can see when she's in the octagon, she is a competitor and she wants to fight. What she struggled with against Stephanie was the judo. I mean, she was getting in these clinch situations, getting tossed down, but she got a takedown of her own. She got a couple sweeps in those, and she was active off her back. You can tell she definitely knows what she's doing in the grappling, in the wrestling, but it was just the judo that was giving her a hard time. She would get the body, get thrown to the ground, in the headlock, didn't know how to get out of situations, and Ashlee Evans-Smith just does not have that judo. So when it comes down to this fight, I believe that Ailin Perez is going to be a little bit more active in the striking, a little bit better strike, a little bit sharper. And in the wrestling, I think she can control the wrestling and the grappling exchanges as well. And I honestly feel pretty good about her in this matchup. I put a moneyline bet on her. I got her at minus 150. When I saw that, I thought that was pretty good value. Now it's getting closer to minus 200. But I'm actually pretty confident in her in this matchup. I think she gets the takedowns to control. And she's a pretty nasty grappler. And she's a tough girl.
Yeah, I think... I agree. And honestly, if she was minus 130, 40, 150, that's not so bad. Minus 190, I don't know, 2-1 favorite. It scares me a little bit, but look what she opened at. Minus 450 at Bet Online. Minus 450. That's a little...
So I probably got the bottom there.
Crazy loops. You might have gotten the bottom, honestly.
I'd like that bottom.
That was a very soft. You usually do your growl. It's a little manlier. I'll let you redo it. That was embarrassing.
No. Ailin Perez, Loki cat. DM me, Ailin. It's right there.
$8,800 for Ailin. You think she is worth $8,800 in DraftKings?
Yeah. Sorry, my mind went a million different ways with that. So it was like Doctor Strange. Like I saw every single scenario and everything I was going to say except for that answer. It was going to get me in some fucking trouble. So I gave the 1 in a million right answer right there.
Well, there you go. I don't know. We'll see. I might wait till weigh-ins. We'll see what Ashlee looks like at weigh-ins, how prepared she looks, nervous. Long ass layoff. There was a substance issue. I think somebody mentioned surgery in the mix. Yeah, somebody mentioned surgery in the mix. Like, there's a lot going on. So
and her Instagram is like,
yeah.
If you think Ailin's is a little distracting, woo! I think she's still around the sport. I think she does commentary and stuff too for MMA and stuff. So it's not like she's like completely out of the sport or anything.
All right. Well, WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 a month. You unlock everything you have ever needed to pick some fights. Next up, at UFC Vegas 77, we have Jack Della Maddalena. You heard that correct. He is now on this card. He was on last week's card, had an original opponent. That guy dropped, got a new opponent. That guy had brain cancer or something. So that dropped. He's decided to stay in Las Vegas. He said, I am not leaving Vegas. I will stay here. You guys will find me a fight. And they did. And now he has a fight.
Right on the nose there.
He's taking on Bassil Hafez. Jack Della Maddalena, 14-2 overall. He's obviously 5-0 in his last 5. He's coming off a bunch of canceled fights. And they finally got an opponent. His opponent is Bassil Hafez, 8-3 in his career, 4-1 in his last 5. Obviously stepping up on short notice. We'll talk about Bassil first because he's the new guy here. He's a heavy-handed grappler. His striking is loose, and it is powerful. And even though you're going to see a check hook knockout highlight everywhere, he is a grappler. He is not a striker. He's very tough. He's going to shoot blast doubles. He's going to look to maintain position while blasting elbows down. He's a high-paced guy, both on the feet and on the ground. But his cardio can fade a little bit later in fights. Even though he is a short-notice step up, he is not a slouch. He's taking on Jack Della Maddalena. I broke this guy 100 times. Phenomenal jab, some really solid power, 71% takedown defense. He looks more and more comfortable every time he's in that cage, especially defending takedown. What are you doing?
Look, we have the same tattoo.
You and this dude? You have a cancer ribbon?
I do.
From your face thing?
Yep. Never forget. Just a constant reminder.
Wear sunscreen. So he tattooed my skin to remind me to protect my skin. Fucking idiot. Anyway, so we all know who Jack Della Maddalena is, but what I would like to remind you of, the same thing that I reminded you all of when Tatsuro Taira was a massive favorite, is this is also short notice for Jack Maddalena. Yes, he had a training camp, but that dude full-blown cut weight. Stepped on the scale, was prepared to fight, and the rug was ripped out from underneath him. So now he has 1 week to get back into that weight-cutting rhythm. Water load.
It sounded like he kind of wanted a 185 fight because he was like, I want to fight at 170 or 185. So I think he was kind of hoping to get a 185.
Well, because the problem is we don't know, and this sounds so stupid, but we don't know what he did when that fight was canceled. He might have been like, fuck it, let's get some beer. Yeah, let's get some beers and a good steak.
You didn't see him Saturday?
Ramsey's. No.
I mean, did you see any?
In the backstage, I saw.
I told you exactly the location of Tabitha Ricci.
I took a picture with Shane Gillis backstage. He is fucking huge. Dude, I'm 6'3". Shane Gillis was bigger than me. He's fucking big. I literally go, holy shit, you're big. He goes, you're big too. I said, thanks. I said, thanks. And then he jokingly goes, all right, little buddy, and then patted me on the back and walked away. But no, he was cool as shit to me. And then I saw Sean O'Malley look like a complete fucking asshole. And then Michael Chandler couldn't have been a nicer human being. That's it with the fighters. That's all I saw. You talked
to Michael?
Nope. He was just sort of jogging by the P-line crowd.
Oh, so.
But he took his time to be like, hey, guys, hey, oh, thanks so much. I appreciate it. And obviously, he's more famous right now than he's ever been.
Are they about to announce that Conor fight tonight?
Connor's never fighting again. Connor's never fighting again. Let me finish this fucking breakdown. So just a reminder, Jack Della had to cut the weight, did all the things. The emotional, like, the highs and lows of, am I going to get paid? Am I not going to get paid? Am I going to fight? Am I not going to fight? I wanted to go home. I can't go home. Let me stay here. Jack Della's going through some shit, right? That's not an easy, just like, oh, you swapped my opponent. Everything changed. Everything changed. So keep that in mind, because while Bassil Hafez is probably not going to win this fight, he does have the style to beat Jack Della Maddalena, a fast, powerful wrestler. He is what Sean Brady thinks he is, right? He's going to come forward, bomb with hands, shoot a blast double with his head up the middle, and try to get it done. I do think he'll slow down. He's had some cardio issues with a full camp, let alone short notice. I think Jack will probably defend some takedowns, line him up with the jab, and win this fight. Jack's the pick. I'm not touching the line. The line's unreasonable. I'm not touching it. It's worse than this now. I made this graphic this morning. What's it now?
I don't know. Let me check for you. It's minus 600.
It went down. Looks like Big Papa's onto something. What do you think, Jakey?
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that serious of a situation. Bassil's got the wrestling, but he doesn't really go to the wrestling. When he goes to the wrestling, I don't think the wrestling's going to be good enough, and his striking is something to be desired. I mean, he doesn't really have a lot of footwork, not a lot of head movement, and with that Della Maddalena jab into the combinations, he is going to be in big trouble. I think JDM dominates this fight. Angelo, back to you! He's going to be panicking right now. I mean, what the fuck is he doing? I've never seen, honestly, in my 30, 40 years of podcasting and talking about the UFC, I've been doing this 40, 50 years, I've never seen such an unprofessional situation in my fucking life. I mean, I just want to sit here and apologize to you guys one by one. If you guys want to put your name in the chat right now, I'll just spend the next 15, 20 minutes just apologizing to you guys one by one, because I've never been so fucking embarrassed in my life. I don't know what the fuck we're doing here. Gets up, doesn't say a word, gone. Now I'm sitting here. It's unbelievable. Joshua, I apologize to you, Joshua. Benny, I swear to God, this is not my fault. And if I was in the situation where I could lead this stream and go on to the next fight, I would. But he's got me in a predicament here. So, Mike, Isaac, everyone. And Angela, I think you should join in on this as well. Well, your mic's muted.
Hey, how are you? How we doing? You get through it?
Hopefully it's not as laggy as I see it. Soon.
The stream's lagging?
Nope, just on my end. I checked it because I'm a professional. Okay. Go down one by one and name every single one of these people in the fucking chat and apologize to them.
Hey guys, sorry I checked on my living, breathing children.
Oh, so they were breathing.
Now I know.
So why the fuck would you even go in there?
Well, to confirm. Okay? To confirm. We'll see what the pricing is. I'm assuming Della Maddalena is going to be a $9,800 opener. Maybe $97 like he was last week.
Someone wrote in all caps, "No one cares about your child."
That's if I give it. Not all caps. There's a typo in the front. Fucking loser. I don't know if Jack's going to be worth that DraftKings price point, because we just don't know how tough Bassil is or isn't. He does have 3 losses, but they're all decisions. So we don't know. We'll have to see when that drops.
We do know.
WeWantPicks.com, the full DraftKings write-up. It's not written by me. It's written by somebody much smarter than me when it comes to daily fantasy. Going to give you all the fades, all the picks, the cash core games, the GPP core game, who should be in those lineups and why. Everything you've ever needed to build a winning lineup. Follow the $150,000 of winnings that our community has made in the last couple of months. WeWantPicks.com is only $10 a month. Ready for this main card opener, big boy? Huh, big boy? You ready?
Is that your girl voice? Do your best girl voice.
Nope.
You want me to do it?
Next up.
Hey.
Here's my best for a girl voice. Daddy, she's hitting me. That's all I hear.
What are you doing?
Have you seen those? There's those TikToks of that guy that like.
What are you wearing?
This is fucking weird, and people are gonna drop big time.
Oh my god, you're crazy.
All right, stop.
Crazy. You're silly.
Next up, at UFC Vegas 77, we have Terrance McKinney taking on Nazim Sadikov. Terrance McKinney, 13-5 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that loss to Ismail Bonfim. He's taking on Nazim Sadikov, 8-1 overall, 5-0 in his last
allegedly
5 with all stoppage wins. What's allegedly?
Well, he didn't beat Evan Elder.
Okay. Terrance McKinney, long, powerful, very talented, right? He's got solid striking. He's got wrestling credentials to dictate where the fight goes. He's a threat on his feet. He's a threat on the ground. A JUCO All-American wrestler. I do wish we would see him wrestle more. He doesn't use it as much as you'd like him to. It's not his go-to. He's going to start striking, and then if he gets in trouble, then try to wrestle. I would love to see if he started with a wrestle-heavy game plan, because he's been chin-checked a few times, and that sucks because he's unbelievably talented, but at the end of the day, like, your chin is your chin. You're just born with it or you're not. There's nothing you can do to improve your chin other than work on the skill sets. And
you can chew gum.
I don't know if that helps. He's taking on Nazim Sadikov. This guy's a very good kickboxer. He's got speed. He's got power, but he's not reckless. He takes his time on his feet, and he tries to find his openings. He likes to plot forward and counter-strike at the same time. He does a really nice job of that head movement while closing the distance. He is patient, but he can just, for no reason, work in spinning attacks. And that actually led to his only professional loss. He spun some stupid bullshit and got Valentina Shevchenko'd. He is coming off the knockout win over Evan Elder, where he was
a
dropped.
doctor stoppage.
Knockout win, baby.
That's not fucking knockout win. It's
where
not fucking
he-
doctor's upset. Okay.
I remember. It was your stupid lock of the week bullshit. Where he was dropped, but he did recover. I told this story in the Quick Weeks video. I met Terrance. I told you this. I called you after. I met Terrance
You met
McKinney's
Terrance
coach.
McKinney?
Coach at the park a couple months ago. I was literally at the park with my kids. He was at the park with his. He was sitting next to me. I heard him talking on the phone, and I was like, "Hey."
Eavesdropping, huh? Interesting.
100%. And then we started chatting. First of all, I'm not going to, I don't know what he was saying, just what's public, what isn't. I have no clue. But anyway, Terrance McKinney has moved to Texas. He's now training at a Travis Luter's gym in Fort Worth. And the names that this guy was rattling off of people that are currently training there or going there or will be there, there were some big, big names in that list. I was surprised at some of the names that he said. And it's impressive. That's where Kevin Holland is training now. And Terrance McKinney was able to accomplish everything he accomplished at some small-ass gym. And I there are some good people came out of that gym, but a small-ass gym, Terrance McKinney was able to accomplish.
Conor McGregor came out of a small gym, stayed loyal to his team.
That was actually it was Australian, but it was solid. So the fact that Terrance was like, okay, that last fight I just lost, I don't know if I should have lost. Meaning, I should have been better than that. Moved to Texas, made a big life choice. He's all in here. And then to see that he now has people that he's training with that are better than him or equal to him in skill set is huge. Because you're not going to get better being the best guy in the room. You will get better being amongst other killers. So I'm hoping this new focus and living in an uncomfortable place with, in a new gym and all these things will just sort of help give him a new look, a fresh restart. Because at the time that Ismael Bonfim loss was yeah, I get it. That guy's a killer. That loss hasn't aged as well as everybody would have liked. But I think Terrance has all the tools. I think he's the better fighter. And I think most people would agree he's the better fighter here. The only issue is what happens if he gets hit really hard in the face. So I'm hoping he's got a different game plan in this fight. We'll see him wrestle a little more. He is a JUCO All-American. I picked Terrance McKinney here. I put a little bit of a money line bet on him. And hopefully that's not just biased because his coach was such a nice dude at the park. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I don't know how anyone can put money or trust in Terrance McKinney at this point in his career because he's just shown that he can't. He just will not do what he needs to do until it is too late. I mean, he did. I mean, he won the fight with a takedown and got that submission win or whatever. But when he gets in these fights, he just starts swinging and banging. And yeah, he's got power and stuff, but he keeps getting chin checked. And last one was the worst. I mean, I don't even think he had a mouthpiece in because I think his mouthpiece got knocked out. Took that knee and face planted. That's a bad knockout for a guy that was already chinny. And against a guy like Nazim, even if Terrance comes in and wants to wrestle heavy, I don't even know if he can wrestle a guy like Nazim. I mean, you saw Evan Elder shooting some takedowns, defending them well. He knows what he's doing in the wrestling, in his grappling, has his own offensive wrestling if he wants it. And he's going to be the technical striker. He's going to be the more technical striker and also has power. And against a guy that gets as wild as Terrance McKinney, that's a recipe for disaster. Somebody you can't just kind of willingly take down, and if he boxes you technically, can beat you to the punch, and you've already been chinny in the past. So, I do like Terrance McKinney, and I agree. The talent level of this kid is out of this world. If he can just kind of settle down and find his spot in these fights, mixing in with the wrestling, have the cardio, have the everything, and just put together a game plan and avoid getting hit in the chin, he can be a guy, but he's just shown that he just will not back out of those situations. And even if he wants to, like I said, I don't even know if he can out-wrestle a guy like Nazim. So I'm going Nazim here. I do respect the talent level and everything that Terrance brings his fight, so I think he is live. I mean, he'll always be live in fights. But, I can't trust him with my money, but I can't trust the other side either because he could come in and look incredible. So I'm staying away from it, but my pick is going to be Nazim.
Yeah, I didn't originally want to bet on it, and then I just looked at it again. I'm like, you know what? He's plus money.
How can you not? He's one of those guys, literally. I almost did the exact same thing. I mean, he's so explosive, and he is so good and so talented. It's like, you're getting this guy at plus money?
He's the better fighter. Yeah. It's just the freaking chin is the question. So that's why I'm hoping. I factored in the people he's training with. I factored in the life change. It takes a lot to say, let me go somewhere new, and I got to mix something up. And to be that self-aware and to make that big of a life choice, I was like, I'm going to ride with him. I'm going to give it a shot. We're both Texans now. Let's see what happens. So I threw a little bit down on the plus 123. And I'm rooting for him. I hope he wins. He's very, 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 very talented. So I'd prefer he wins. He's your new favorite
fighter because he's your friend's fighter, so he's your new favorite.
Not even. I talked to the coach for 40 minutes at the park, and that was the end of it.
You get his number?
We followed each other on Instagram, and that was it. Done.
Oh, the Instagram. That's
it's not an Ailin.
It's not quite Perez. To the number, but I mean it's right there.
There's access if it's needed for sure.
Yeah, and you can do your little creepy stuff.
Like what?
You like to creep on people. You're creeping on his. If you're creeping on his phone call, I'm sure you've been on his Instagram every night before you go to bed.
No, he was standing right. He was sitting right next to me on the bench at the park.
Who sat down first?
Me.
I bet he was sitting there and you sat down next to him.
No, I think no. I don't. I actually don't remember.
If he was already on the phone, he's not walking up to somebody sitting on the bench already.
I don't think he was already on the phone. I don't remember. All I know is he's talking on the phone, and I hear him say a few things from. It was just after UFC Orlando, and he mentioned a few things when Kevin Holland got into some that fight in the lobby with who was it? Somebody. He was telling that story. And he was like, we. I was like, oh, shit. And I said, you were at UFC Orlando? And he said, yeah, I'm actually so-and-so's coach. I was like, oh, okay.
Couldn't wait to say it.
He was a nice guy. And I've met a lot of people like that in my day. And some of them.
I met John Gotti III.
Yeah, you're welcome. I made you do that. You didn't want to. I said, get the fuck over there.
Because I'm not one of those guys.
Neither am I. Actually, somebody at the fights asked me, if you see people, can you get me an autograph? I was like, no, I'm not asking.
The worst part about that situation was I wanted the picture more with John Gotti, the son, not the grandson. You know, John Gotti Jr. is like the guy. I mean, he was like almost went to prison and stuff. John Gotti the third. Now he's making a name for himself. But I was like, let's get a picture of both of them. And then the junior was like, nah. And the third was like, eh.
Anyway, so we both had the same read on this fight, but we picked opposite sides. Is essentially what happened here. So I may spend the $7,500 in DraftKings on Terrance McKinney. He's probably pretty risky for a cash game, but I think I'm going to go for it and do that. You're going to spend the $8,700 on Nazim in DraftKings? Nah. All right, there you go. WeWantPicks.com. Become a premium member. You'll get all the things. Next up, at UFC Vegas 77, we have Ottman Azaitar taking on Francisco Prado. Ottman Azaitar, 13-1. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off his first professional loss, which was that very quick knockout to Matt Frevola. He's taking on Francisco Prado, 11-1. He's also coming off his first professional loss. This could very well be fight of the night, or at least a very fast fight. These guys are like mirror images of each other. Ottman Azaitar is a powerful striker. He thrives in the chaos. He likes to fight inside the pocket. He's going to come forward. He's going to plant his feet and fire away. If you don't come forward, he will. If you back up, he's going to keep coming. Like, this guy wants to be in your face, and he wants to be swinging hard. He does have a wild striking differential of 7-3. He has not seen a second round yet in the UFC, and you typically want to get this guy to the ground, but he's got really good, solid takedown defense as well. But he's coming off that knockout loss to Matt Frevola, but the caveat there, the asterisk, is Matt Frevola has insane power, and Ottman was coming off a 2-year layoff at the time. He's taking on Francisco Prado. He's a powerful striker. He comes in hot. He's got big looping shots, head kicks, a Muay Thai clinch, insane power, but he also keeps his head just straight up in the air, and he can be touched. He can grapple as well, and while it's not his plan A, he will shoot doubles. He will use power. He'll scoop you up. He'll slam you down. Ridiculously explosive. This is a great fight. This is a mirror image. These guys are very, very similar in style, very similar in power. I am picking Francisco Prado here, very, very slightly picking Francisco Prado here. And I just think it's because Ottman was knocked out big time in that last fight, where Francisco Prado, that's just not how he went out, right? He lost a decision to Jamie Malarkey.
And Jamie's good, man.
He's not that good. But Francisco has the wrestling, the better wrestling. So Ottman's got the wrestling defense. Francisco has the wrestling offense, and it may come to that. So if I'm looking at both of them, obviously either one of these guys can knock each other out. We've seen one actually knocked out. So I got to go Francisco Prado here, but there's no science behind this. One of these dudes is going to get put away. Thought there was a ghost behind us. What the fuck? I just thought I saw something like right here. Go ahead.
I think the biggest red flag for this fight, the biggest question mark is Francisco Prado literally just turned fucking 21 years old. This is a literal kid fighting in the UFC, and you honestly wouldn't know. If you watched him fight, you would think that he was in his late 20s, in his early 30s, because he looks really, really refined. He doesn't even look really that green in any area as a 21-year-old. And literally, this guy looks and fights like a baby Drew Dober. I mean, that's exactly what he is. He is a march forward, in your face, not a lot of head movement, but he will eat shots to give shots, nice combinations, has some wrestling in his back pocket, and I mean, he looks like he's got the chin here too. And I believe in this fight, we are going to find out if he is a baby Drew Dober with that crimson chin. Not the Drew Dober now, which, by the way, for full lock of the week against Drew Dober, it is what it is. I mean, smarter than the rest of them. But we are going to see, there is going to be a moment where Ottman is going to land that power shot. And if Francisco is able to eat it, I think that he can win this fight because he's going to have a nice counter off it. He is going to wear down Ottman. He's got the cardio. Ottman is more of a first-round or bust type of striker, type of fighter. So there's going to be that moment. And he's going to have to eat that shot, and we're going to find out, is this 21-year-old kid the real deal with a nice chin and some nice combinations? Is going to beat this, what was coming into the UFC as this huge, huge prospect, knocking everybody out. So we're going to see. And honestly, at this point, the way that I've seen him getting hit against Jamie Malarkey and knowing that Ottman has the power, I don't think he's going to be able to eat the shot, so I'm going Ottman. But, I think this is a coin toss fight, and I agree. I think this could be fight of the night. I think it's over pretty quickly, honestly. One of these guys gets dropped, but it's gonna be fun while it lasts for sure. And I'm going to go with Ottman with the experience, I think.
It's an interesting matchup. I'm surprised the UFC would do this. They have two powerful prospects that can hit hard and do the things, and they're like, yeah, let them fight each other. I'm surprised they're doing that. It's a bit odd, but I'll be looking forward to it. I'm not going to argue with anybody picking the other side. It's dead even. Look at the odds. It's a dead even fight according to the odds, and that's what it should be. So you and I are on split, and one of these guys needs to be in your DraftKings, so one of them is going to score a fortune. So just hope you're on the right side because it will be a knockout win for one of them. You can't even do that does not go the distance because that's juice to all hell as well. So
Juice me. Nah, it's minus 260. It's not terrible.
Does not go the distance is only minus 260.
That's what I said.
Shit, I might go put a couple of units on that as soon as we're done.
Couple units.
That's a great.
Biggest bet of the year.
That's a great line.
You know what my biggest bet was last weekend?
What?
On what's his name?
Whitaker.
No. First fight of the night. I nailed my biggest bet of the night.
Oh. Yeah, well, dude, it's so funny.
Esteban Ribovics.
It's just funny because Tiffany and I were in the room getting ready. I was ready. And you see some of this in the Fight Foods vlog. I'm drinking. I got the computer up. I'm watching the fights, waiting for her to get ready.
Jerking off.
Evan Elder just won. Or not Evan Elder. Esteban Ribovics just won. And I was like, Tiff, it's going to be a good night. We just hit our first bet. Like, it's going to be a good night. And then it was just like, beep, 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 beep.
Do you remember the text I sent you guys on Saturday? I woke up on Saturday and I said, and this is 100% true, I had a dream of Esteban Ribovics just absolutely dominating that fight. And I woke up on Saturday and the first thing that happens in that fight is he's taken down and just on his back. So I immediately was like, well, this is going to be a fucking disaster of a day. And then he just dominates the second and third round. And I thought the same thing you thought. I was like, oh my God, my biggest bet on the card. Oh, fuck, we're fucking rolling today. The prelims were still great up to fucking Yasmin.
Yeah, the main card was a bit of a mess. The main card was a mess. I almost hit my Edgar Shirez bet. 10 seconds, I hit that bet. Biggest underdog on the card. Turns out Dricus du Plessis was the biggest underdog on the card, and the AI picked it correctly. The AI, it's in beta still, but our AI, it's had some highs and lows as far as just total fight picks. But what it is not missed is the biggest underdog on every card. It has correctly picked the biggest winning underdog on every card that we've had it for. I don't know how the hell it's doing it, but it had Drikas. Before that, it had who's that big one that knocked out Garam?
Do we want to tell the people
Elvis
that
Brenner?
it's actually me that makes the underdog pick for the pick doctor?
You could take some
and
advice,
and you told me that it cannot be my lock of the week, so I have to pick the dog that's always been right. That would be my lock of the week, and then I have to pick my secondary lock of the week, which is
It doesn't. All the picks for the AI are up, except the Maddalena fight because all that data is not out yet. But once it is, if it picks against Maddalena, I might tail it this week. We'll see.
I think so.
We'll see. WeWantPicks.com. If you want to follow that journey, the Pick Doctor is a literal nuclear physicist who's developing an AI for us. He's writing articles, sort of walking you through the logic, the tweaks, the levers, all this stuff, what he's doing to make it happen. But you can follow the journey. I do not recommend tailing an incomplete AI's bets, but it is there. Follow the journey. It is nailing these underdogs. I may start tailing the underdog bets. But we'll see what happens. WeOwnPicks.com. It's only $10 a month to unlock everything you could ever want. $4.99 super chat from Alan Stubbs. He says, "Let's go, boys." And I say thank you.
Connor's in tonight's tough episode fucking drops one of those his fucking teammates, the kids that he's training. He was sparring one of them, just fucking dropped one of them the fucking liver shot.
He still hasn't won yet, right? Like
no, that's what it says. The caption of this says, and it's Connor Burks, who I follow. He follows me. I think he watched our stuff. What's up, Connor? If you do, he says McGregor is tired of being winless shit, and it's just him just laying the dude out. If I look, just beating the fuck out and just whap, drops him.
And those are newcomers too. Those aren't the UFC veterans. That's funny. Next up, at UFC Vegas 77, we have Norma Dumont taking on Chelsea Chandler. Norma Dumont, 9-2 overall, 4-1 in her last 5. She is riding a 2-fight win streak. She's taking on Chelsea Chandler, only 5-1 in her career. She is 5-0 in her last 5, and she's coming off that first-round knockout in her UFC debut. We all know Norma Dumont at this point. She's actually been very, very active. She's a solid striker. She's relaxed. She's patient. Her striking is technical, and her takedown defense is very sound. If you look at her strike differential, she lands about 4 significant strikes per minute and only takes 2 in return. And on top of her technical striking, she also has solid grappling. Her takedowns are not great, but she does have 8 takedowns in 7 UFC fights. She's coming off the win over Cara Rosa. She was dropped. She was able to squeak out the win. I say squeak. It wasn't a split or anything, but squeak out the win with straight up cage control. She's taking on Chelsea Chandler. She is a powerful fighter who comes forward throwing bombs. She'll push you against the cage. She's going to work for takedown. She's incredibly strong and uses that strength to rip her opponents to the mat and control them from there. She is not incredibly fast. She's not athletic. But she is tough, she's powerful, and she never stops marching forward. She's coming off that knockout win over Julia Stolarienko, where we saw how tough she is and how solid her BJJ can be. And I'm picking Chelsea Chandler here. I mean, ever so slightly picking Chelsea Chandler here, but we just watched Norma get dropped. This feels very much like the Gomes-Yaryui fight from last week, where Yasmin Yaryui was knocked down in her fight going into that, and everybody just ignored it and chalked it up to nothing, then got flatlined. Norma Dumont was just knocked down in her fight against Cara Rosa, people ignoring it, and Chelsea Chandler might be the hardest or the second hardest hitting person in this division. So I'm not going to blindly bet on Chelsea, but I do think, I do have a bet on her. I do think Norma Dumont is her only path to victory here, which is probably going to happen. She closes the distance, holds Kelsey against the cage, tries to work a takedown. The takedown defense is pretty tough. It's a whole lot of boring bullshit, but Chelsea's going to land the big shots and is going to do more damage. So this is going to go one of two ways. This could be a Chelsea Chandler knockout, or this could be, if you remember was it Norma Dumont who beat Holly Holm? Who was it that beat Holly Holm where Holly held her against the cage the entire fight and still lost the decision? Well, I can't believe I can't.
It's your story. So
anyway, it could look like that, where Holly held her against the cage the entire fight, and the judges still gave it to her opponent because her opponent, any chance she got was landing big shots, separating, trying to land big. That's exactly what this could look like. So Chelsea's the pick, and the bet that I have on her is wins inside the distance, decision, no action, because Norma is not dangerous at all. She's not going to win this fight by finish. If she wins, it's a decision, and Chelsea is dangerous as shit. So worst case scenario, I get a refund. So that's what I got going on here. What do you think, Jakey boy?
I don't disagree with the power assessment of Chelsea. I have this immediately. I thought that this was speed versus power. Norma Dumont, I think, is the more technical striker. She showed some nice crisp striking in the pocket versus Carol Hossa. Obviously, she, as you mentioned, she did get dropped, but she came back and won that fight with pressure. And Chelsea did look good in her last fight, but we have to remember that was against Julia Stoliarenko and Stoliarenko. Stoliarenko, and she was taken down very easily in that first round. I know Norma Dumont isn't a big grapple heavy wrestler, but she will shoot takedowns, and if she feels like she has the advantage in the wrestling, she will use her wrestling, and I think that she has the wrestling to kind of control this fight, because Chelsea was easily taken down. The only reason that Julia lost that position was because she went for one of her patented arm bars, didn't get it. Chelsea ended up on top. They got back to the feet, and then Chelsea did what she should have done on the feet against Stoliarenko, is dominate, because Julia is not a striker, so Chelsea came in and did what she did against somebody that isn't a very good striker. Norma Dumont is a very, very good technical striker, will stand there and box. I believe that she can have the wrestling too if she needs it to slow this fight down. If Chelsea comes out with a little bit of power, Norma Dumont with those strong, defined legs are very good at holding people against the cage, as you saw against Carol Hossa. I just think that she can slow this fight down if she needs to, grind out a win. I don't have a bet on her. It's nothing like that. I'm not that confident in it, right? Because I do respect the power of Chelsea. But as a pick, I think Norma Dumont's a technical enough striker to do what she needs to do on the feet and work in a takedown or some cage control and win a fight. But this could easily turn into, if they strike, this could turn into a sneaky, really good fight, because Chelsea will stand, she will bang, and you saw that at times with Norma as well, throwing extended combinations versus Carol Hossa. So this is sneaky, one of those where it could turn into a really good fight if they start standing. But if Norma wants to win, it probably needs to be boring, and I think she'll make it boring.
It 100% needs to be boring, and I think she's gonna have a hard time bullying Chelsea. Chelsea's
not with those legs, not with those legs, not with those legs, not with those legs. She can do whatever she fucking wants. Watermelon.
Do you love my inside the distance decision no action bet, though? That's a solid bet. And
yeah, I don't think she's... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I said it in the quick pick video. The props dropped. I looked at it. It was minus 200. I was like, let me wait. That might tighten. It did not tighten. It's like, fuck.
But so Carol Hossa's she's got good power. She's known as a power striker.
So does Chelsea.
Her partner is Denise Gomes.
There you go. So, yeah, again, same read, but different picks. This is the third fight we did that. Okay, weird. $8,400 for Norma Dumont. I'm going to have to check the DraftKings scoring, because she does rack up sneaky control time, just holding you against the cage in these boring-ass fights. So I got to see what that's done for her. Chelsea Chandler, $7,800. If she wins, she will score big, big, big. So we'll keep a close eye on that. We have a $20 super chat from MMA Sko Williams. He said he's up 12 units from the last event. Congratulations on that. Thank you guys for the great product. If you haven't signed up, then you must hate money. We appreciate it. And if the fact that this man took $20 and sent it our way is unbelievably appreciated. The fact that he used
Do you remember his name?
MMA Sko Williams.
You remember his name?
No. Sko Williams? What?
Scott.
Why would I know his name?
Well, we had this Jesus Christ, we've had this exact same conversation last podcast, so with the same guy, with the same donation, always winning this guy.
Well, good for him. We appreciate it. The fact that he took the time to shout out Premium, means the world. So thank you very much for the $20.
Appreciate you, Scott.
For the shout out.
Big Scotty.
Look at Artem pretending he's American. Just waiting for the American basketball game to end. Go sports.
He's watching Summer League.
Nice try, Artem. Nice fucking.
How was the Sphere?
The Sphere in Vegas was very disappointing, because you can see it. You can see it from everywhere, which is cool. And at night, when it was all lit up, you're like, that's wild. But it was only a basketball, and it wasn't
You went to a nice
moving.
hotel so you could look at it?
Yeah, we left. We got in an Uber. We left the Flamingo and then went to a nicer part of the strip so we could actually see it. But it was just the ball that wasn't moving. So it's like, okay, I wanted the
looks
eyeball
wild,
that I
though.
saw it on. The eyeball on Twitter is the wildest thing I've ever seen. It's like, I want that. It should just do that every day.
Imagine if the UFOs are real and they're just flying
They
around
see
and
that.
they're just
They
like,
see
whoa, we gotta get the fuck, what the fuck? We are not where we thought we were. We gotta get the fuck out of here. They got something real down there. Holy
And anybody
shit.
who
They're
doesn't
building
know,
something.
if you don't know what we're talking about, just go on Twitter and look for the Sphere Las Vegas. It's the world's largest LCD.
2.3 billion, I think it cost.
Yeah, it's a 17,000 seat arena. That's a full blown circle, and every inch of the outside is an LED screen. And on the 4th of July, they were just putting wild shit on that screen, like an eyeball the size of an arena, just like blinking.
It looks
and
absolutely
looking.
real. It's not what you think. It doesn't look like an eyeball in LED.
No.
It looks like a fucking eyeball. The basketball looks like a fucking basketball, like a big ass fucking basketball.
It's crazy. No, it is crazy. It's wild.
You're crazy.
Next up at UFC Vegas 77, we have a couple of heavyweights here. We got Walt Harris taking on Josh Parisian. Actually, there were no heavyweights on the UFC 290 card either, huh?
That's why it's such a good card.
Yeah, we haven't had heavyweights in a
I'm
while.
so sick of heavyweight fights. Jesus.
Oh, this one's going to be a much better one because we have Walt Harris coming back after 2 years away, 13-10 overall, taking on Josh Parisian, 15-6. He's 2-3 in his last 5. He is alternating wins and losses. Walt Harris, he's coming back after a 3-fight losing streak and 2 full years away. He's a feast or famine guy. He's got insane power. He's insanely athletic. He's going to beat most of the guys on any given night. He's very athletic. So he's going to be fast. He's going to be powerful. He's going to be in your face. The problem is his durability. And it's going to get questioned. His takedown defense is actually solid at 70%, but he has been taken down by some of the better guys in the division. I believe he was in that John Jones training camp with some of the other sort of monster heavyweights out
One of
there.
his boys.
He's taking on Josh Parisian. Josh Parisian's sort of a lunch pail striker. He's just going to come forward, ton of output, not a lot of power. The volume does come at a cost, though, because he'll get tired. He'll start to slow down, and even the power he didn't have will diminish just a little bit. I actually say he doesn't have a lot of power. I called Parker Porter the last time I broke down Josh Parisian, and I said, does he have power? Because Parker fought him. And Parker was like, everything he threw hurt. He's like, he definitely has power. So I guess maybe I'm not giving him enough credit because he is fighting high
Big man.
He's fighting high-level guys, so just the fact he didn't knock them all out doesn't really mean much. But anyway,
Call him a pussy.
when you compare these two, one of them is knocking people out with one punch, and the other one is not. So when I say he has no power, that's what I'm going by. Because Josh does have 10 knockouts under his belt, but he's not that one-punch knockout guy. He's volume. He'll work in a takedown or two. He is coming off that loss to Jamal Pogues, though, where he gave up 5 takedowns. I like Josh Parisian in this fight, and no offense to Walt Harris, but 2 years away and 3 losses in a row. Granted, those are quality losses before the layoff. They're all to like high-level people. But that's a long, long layoff. He's coming back. Josh Parisian's a tough guy. He's got a chin on him. He's not the guy that you're just going to blitz in, knock him out in the first 30 seconds and be done. So I think Josh will weather an early storm and then grind out a win here. So I think Josh will get it done, but I agree with your don't bet on heavyweights rule.
Yeah, and I almost honestly bet on this fight because I for some reason, I feel good about Walt Harris this week. And I understand, and what Josh Parisian, if he's going to win the fight, is going to be exactly what you said. He's going to weather the storm. He's going to survive, just like Marcin did in that last Walt Harris fight. I mean, Walt Harris was beating the absolute fuck out of Marcin Taboria in that fight, and then got too aggressive, got taken down. And you've seen Walt Harris time and time again in those same situations. He's having success, and then he gets a little too aggressive. He gets taken down, he gets beaten up, and he gets tired, and then he ends up getting beat. But the biggest thing that I saw, and maybe this is too specific, and maybe I'm looking into it too much in this fight, but what I saw is Josh
Jesus
fought.
Christ, restart. You all right?
I'm just talking, man. I'm just passionate. It's just fucking passion. When Josh fought Jamal in his last fight, there was a lot of times where Jamal was getting that left head kick up, and I mean, he was putting his hands up and he was blocking that. But one of Walt Harris's best shots is that head kick. He will snap that head kick much faster than Jamal with much more power, and he hurts people with it. And maybe it's just the 1 + 1 = 2, and maybe it's, but I think that Walt Harris is going to come in, land those big power shots, get him moving backwards, moving side to side, and land that big head kick that hurts people time and time again, and he's going to finish this fight. I believe in Walt Harris. I believe in his power. I think he's going to come in against a durable guy, make a statement, and have a big win for him. I think he gets it done.
Well, and another 2 years an issue situation, right? Because 2 years, he can come back looking awful. Should have never come back. Quick payday. John Jones said, hey, I'll come back, give my friend some fights, right? That could have been it. Or it could have been he did this full camp with John Jones. It's the best he's ever felt. He's going to be in phenomenal shape. His hands are going to be great. Like, could be all the things. All the things. So, lots of questions here. I'm going to avoid it because of that. The layoff is what's a bit questionable, if you will, because again, we don't know what we're going to see. Maybe at weigh-ins, if Walt Harris comes out looking phenomenal at weigh-ins, then it's like, all right, that John Jones training camp, like that did him some good. So $8,900 in DraftKings, $7,300 in DraftKings. Listen, if you think, first of all, I wouldn't throw either one of them in a cash game. But if you think Walt Harris is going to get that early knockout, then $8,900 is well worth it on a weird card like this. If you think Josh Parisian's going to weather a storm and grind out a win, he might not be worth the $7,300. I got to look at his scoring because I don't know what he'll score because I don't think he'll finish Walt. Like, Walt has been finished, obviously, but by pretty dangerous guys. So I'll look a little closer in that DraftKings video. I'll break it down a little better after doing some research. We'll see what happens there. But this actually could be one of the more fun heavyweight fights. Walt Harris has never been in a boring fight, so we don't have to worry about that. And Josh Parisian with Parker Porter set the heavyweight striking record. So we know he's going to come forward and throw a bunch of strikes as well. So it actually should be a pretty fun heavyweight fight. Become a premium member at WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 a month, and you'll have everything you have ever needed to be successful betting fights, playing DraftKings.
I'm fucking starving.
Well, sounds like a you problem. Next up at UFC Vegas 77, we have Albert Duraev taking on Jun Young Park. Albert Duraev is 16-4 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, coming off that decision win over Chidi Injakawani. He's taking on Jun Young Park. He's 16-5 overall, 4-1 in his last 5, riding a 3-fight win streak. Duraev is a nasty wrestler. He's got good takedowns, very good top pressure, very good ground and pound. He sets up his Greco-style takedowns with leg kicks and cage bullying. Pretty straightforward game plan, right? He's just going to come forward and get that done. It's pretty hard to stop him from doing that. He's going to continue to pressure, continue to change wrestling. He's not going to break from that cycle. He's coming off that very close win over Chidi Njokwani where he did have 2 takedowns and 4 minutes of control. You may say, oh, but he was knocked out by Joaquin Buckley. He was. But they had some gym history going on
There's
there.
a doctor stoppage.
I just like, I call those knockouts. It was a TKO. I call TKOs KOs. Anyway, he was TKO'd by Joaquin Buckley, but they had some gym history there, and which could have messed with the psyche there. And Joaquin Buckley is a much more dangerous striker than Jun Young Park. Jun Young Park is a well-rounded guy. He's got a nice jab, good cage control, solid setup, solid takedowns. He's actually pretty good everywhere. Amazing nowhere. Like what we talked about earlier, he's a jack of all trades.
Master with none.
He doesn't have the big one-punch KO power. He doesn't have wild submissions. And yes, he is coming off that submission win over Denis Tululian, but that's very different than being this like dynamic grappler that could just throw something up and get it done whenever he wants to. He does have a solid striking differential of about 5-4, and he averages 2 takedowns of his own per fight, and he has plenty of cardio. Jun Young Park's the more well-rounded fighter here, but Albert Duraev is much better at the one thing that's going to matter in this fight. I think Albert Duraev is going to get the takedowns. I think he's going to get the control. Jun Young Park is not dangerous like Joaquin Buckley to crack him or to put him out or to bust him open. So I think Duraev grinds out what is most likely a very boring win, but I think Duraev gets it done. And I'm just watching the line movement here because he continues to become a bigger underdog. And as soon as I feel like it's hit its pinnacle or the peak, then I'll probably throw some money on the money line for Duraev because I think he's going to get this done. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, this is an obvious pick. This is Alonzo Menafield last week when I told you guys I have no idea why the fuck he's an underdog against a guy like Jimmy Crute. That was the most obvious lock of the week play of all time, and I literally could have easily done that. And I literally was like, nah, it's too obvious. Let me go something a little bit more extreme. It's going to be the same thing this week. This is a very obvious play for Alvaradoyev because he is the better fighter. I mean, I think he's the better overall fighter in the striking, in the wrestling, in the grappling. You look at the level of competition. You touched on it. Buckley, Cheaty, those are much different fighters than, Jun Young Park came in and finished Joseph Holmes. In that fight, he was kind of getting lit up a little bit on the feet by Joseph Holmes. Got out-scrambled by Joseph Holmes. Joseph Holmes ended the first round almost like in a full mount situation against Jun Young Park. Then comes back and submits a guy like Dennis Tululin, who, by the way, was my 10th win for my lock of the week streak. He beat Jimmy Pickett in that fight, but he's not a level guy like Alvaradoyev as well. And Doriev does have the wrestling. He does have the stand-up. I wish he would use his wrestling more. I think the reason why he lost that Chidi fight, or he beat Chidi? It was a split decision, right?
He beat Chidi. It was a split.
Right. But he could have been a lot more dominant in that fight if he would have wrestled more because he was just trying to stand and bang with Chidi. And even against a guy as dangerous as Chidi, who's been knocking everyone out, he still did fine. I mean, he still did fine in the striking. I don't know. I have no idea. I know that he's coming off back-to-back finishes, wins, Jun Young Park. He's a very durable guy. He probably will make Doriev work in the takedowns, in the grappling, off his back, try to win some scrambles. And maybe there's a situation where Doriev hasn't been wrestling a lot. Now he comes in wrestle heavy, gets tired, and Park is able to reverse and maybe win the next couple rounds or whatever. But I don't know why Doriev is the underdog in this matchup. I think he is the overall better fighter, and I think he should dominate. I mean, this is an easy lock of the week, but he's not going to be my lock of the week. So,
yeah, we agree. So, are you going to bet on him? Do you have a bet on him?
I believe I do. I think that was the first bet I placed. Let me make sure.
Yeah, I'm just using the line. I mean,
I do have a pretty. I think I bet more than what I said as well. Looking at this number.
I'm drinking my own champagne here because I am literally just watching the line movement tracker. I don't update it. We pay somebody to update it, but I'm watching the line movement tracker, and I'm just watching it get a little wider, and as soon as it starts to rebound, bang, I'm throwing on Alvaradoyev because, I think we agree here. WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 a month, and you too can have access to the line movement tracker, and it's fights like this where it's huge. And maybe not this specific fight, but when you have your own opinion, your own thoughts, you have a direction you're leaning, and the line's doing something else, well, you can use that line movement tracker to keep an eye on it and watch what's going on there, and then go ahead and jump on your spot, or maybe even jump off if it's going the wrong direction. But it's only $10 a month to unlock everything. $7,700 in DraftKings. I think that's solid money, especially if we're going to get the takedowns at control time. He's an underdog. You need underdogs in your DraftKings lineup. So I think that makes sense as well. And with that same $10 at WeWantPicks.com, you unlock everything you've ever needed for DraftKings, including a lineup builder. Next up at UFC Vegas 77, we have the main event of the evening. Don't know why I did that.
Because Holly looks like a valley girl.
maybe that was. Anyway, we got Holly Holm 15-6. They do the.
Do they?
Holly Holm.
When you were in high school in the 80s.
Holly Holm. I was in high school in the
90s.
Late 90s and early 2000s.
I was a fucking nerd.
I graduated. You could not.
Summa cum laude.
Oh, that's college.
Fucking valedictorian nerd.
I graduated in 2001.
Honors?
In high school?
Yeah.
No. Not a nerd. Anyway.
So you're just a fucking idiot.
Holly Holm, 15-6 overall. 3-2 in her last 5. Coming out that decision win over Yana Santos. Taking on Myra Bueno Silva. 10-2 overall. 3-1-1 in her last 5. Riding a 3-fight win streak. Holly Holm, former bantamweight champion of the world. A lot of people don't realize that or are forgetting that. The new post-COVID UFC crowd don't realize that. She's been at the upper echelon of this division for almost 10 years. She's a very talented boxer. She was a professional boxer who moved over to MMA. She has beaten some of the best in the world. She is old. She's older than me. She's 41 years old. But I've mentioned this before, breaking her down. Age doesn't really matter with her style. She doesn't rely heavily on a chin. She doesn't rely heavily on sort of that youth movement or anything. She's long. She uses her reach. She uses her striking accuracy. She'll get you held up against the cage. She'll work in takedowns. She's always had plenty of cardio. That's not fading. And she can turn kickboxing matches into wrestling matches, or she can turn wrestling matches into kickboxing matches. She's got all the tools to dictate where a fight goes and what she wants to do with that. Plus, an insane career of high fight IQ. She's taking on Bueno Silva. She's a pretty good striker. She's got solid power, good kicks. She likes to charge forward, just bomb from there. She's a very good grappler as well, but her takedowns are kind of trash. She did get a couple of takedowns in her last fight, which were her first takedowns in the UFC, but she is dangerous on the ground. So taking her down may not be what you want to do at all times. I think this is a very straightforward fight for Holly Holm. I am surprised that this line is tightening. I think Holly Holm is better than Bueno Silva literally everywhere except BJJ. She's going to be the better striker. She's going to be the better wrestler. She's going to be bigger. She's going to be stronger. She's going to manage range better. She's going to have the higher fight IQ. And hopefully this isn't a Robert Whittaker Duplessis situation all over again, because I was just as confident in him. But the only way Bueno Silva beats Holly Holm, in my opinion, is by a fluke submission, the same way Holly lost her belt when she had the belt. We have never seen Holly be chinny. I don't think today's going to be that day. Holly's been working in takedowns and cage control better than ever at her age. So I just think Holly Holm, I think she dominates this fight. I have a unit on her at minus 160. And if this line tightens even more, I may double down. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Let me start off by saying that I respect both these females, and I think they're both fantastic, both attractive young women, and I would be lucky enough to date both of them. You're either one of them. But I will say that Holly Holm is not Yanan Wu. Holly Holm is not Stephanie Egger. Holly Holm is not Lena Landsberg, right? I mean, those are the last three wins that Bueno Silva has come through. And she's gotten, a couple finishes, a nice, another nice win in there. So she is coming in 3 fights in a row. But this is next level competition. And we've already seen Bueno Silva fight Holly Holm. We literally have already seen it. That was the last loss. It was Manon Farrow. She fights very, very similar to Holly with the karate style, the boxing, the front kicks, the side kicks. And guess what happened in that fight? Bueno Silva got the absolute fuck beat out of her. Yeah, she is very, very tough. She was moving forward. She's got the Muay Thai. She was she was bleeding. She was like, hit me more. She will eat shots to work in to the Muay Thai, to land powerful shots, and she was trying to do that, but she could not get to Manon Farrow, and Manon even got the takedowns. Stayed safe in the jiu-jitsu. Anytime that Bueno Silva got a little bit too pressure, boom, taken down, stayed safe, won that, and just completely dominated that fight from bell to bell. So we've already seen how Bueno Silva matches up against a style like Holly Holm. The issue for me when it comes to Holly Holm is she has been wrestling more and more, and she has been clinching more and more. It's not the open style Holly, side kicks, the point style. She will crash in, and I believe she trusts her clinch work, and she trusts her wrestling. But the last thing that you want to do, Holly, in this fight is go to the ground, because Bueno Silva is very, very dangerous. Arm bars, triangles, will reach under for knee bars, heel hooks. She will do everything on the ground, and that is when she's going to be I know she's a powerful striker, and she's got power in her hands, and that is a threat as well. But her most live part is if it goes to the ground. You cannot go to the ground with Bueno Silva. So, with everything said, I think that this is one of the more obvious picks on the card for a girl like Holly Holm. I'm completely on Angelo's side on that.
Wow.
But the way I've been picking main events the last fucking 4, 6, 8 weeks, whatever it's been, it hasn't been since the Reagan administration that I've picked a main event correctly. With all that said, I think Holly should dominate this fight from bell to bell. My pick is Bueno Silva to get the upset. I don't know how it's going to happen. I think Holly's going to wrestle and get caught in something. I'm going with the Brazilian, even though everything is telling me to pick Holly Holm. So I'm going against myself. I'm trying anything at this point to get a main event correct. I'm going with Bueno Silva to get it done.
So You
I
think
agree
Holly
with
Holm
everything
wins
you
this?
said.
Yeah,
And then I
but-
literally put in my notes, I did the full card Twitter breakdown. I said, everything is telling me the obvious pick is Holly. So I'm going with the Brazilian.
Well, I mean, she's younger. She should be more dangerous.
Better looking. They're both great, but I think she's the better looking.
Well, that's
If you
an
guys
opinion
want to
thing,
watch
because-
that Man and Fro fight back, she does get a little underboob, a little slippage, a little more wardrobe malfunction if you guys are into that sort of thing. How many people are going to go to bed watching that fight that night?
I mean, we just watched our live viewers. Our live viewers went from 350 to 200. Like, brrr. Anyway,
They were waiting to hear my pick.
exact same read, completely different picks again, but Jacob's just picking opposite his brain for some reason here. So I do have to check Holly Holm's DraftKings scores because $8,600, while it is 5 rounds, I don't know how well it'll score. Although takedowns do score well, control time does score well, so I just got to see what that looks like, how she's been doing in those fights. Since, to your point, she's been wrestling and clinching a lot more in her last 2 fights than she has in her last, the 10 before that. But that's the beauty of Holly Holm, just constantly evolving. And, well, I think she gets it done. I'll have to look closer at the scoring. For DraftKings, this is just Holly Holm has a bad record against Brazilian fighters. I mean, I guarantee.
I'm never picking against Brazilians ever again.
I'm just going to pull up the
Literally.
typology.
Literally.
This stuff is just always so wrong. When
I think some of my biggest losses last weekend were against Pantoja and against Denise Gomes.
Well, I said nobody should be betting on Yuri here. She was just knocked down in her last fight. If only people listened. Okay, Holly Holm only has 6 losses. Ketlin Vieira, that was a bullshit loss. Shouldn't have happened. Amanda Nunes is the GOAT. Fuck, man, she does only lose to Brazilians. No, wait. Valentina Shevchenko and Miesha Tate. So she lost to 1, 2, 4 of her 6 losses.
Misha's kind of got that Brazilian flair, though.
Yeah. Sorry, Edward. Didn't
That
mean to
sex
say
appeal.
some stupid shit. Oh, that was a much better one. Anyway, guys, that's the breakdown. Let me send you $50. I owe you. But first, just go to weonpicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners. Click on the link. Make a deposit, and we will send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing. They're going to pay me. I'm going to swipe off a piece of that, and give it right back to you. JR says, here's a super chat from JR Ranks. Sorry, my bad. Chat's moving fast. I'm putting my life savings on Jacob's next
Junior
lock.
ranks.
Junior Ranks. I would not do that, Junior. I know who's
Oh,
next
it's
lock
going to
of the
be
week is.
it's going to be a fucking good one. This is a fun one. This is, I guess, lock of the
If you
week.
want to spoil it, go ahead. Well, no, it's too late. Our
Wait, how many
viewers
people are in here? It says
300.
there's still 300 people in here. Nah, we'll just wait. I put it in, some people in Discord know, but they're probably going to lie about who it is.
Big mistake. Big mistake.
It's going to be a lot of fun, though.
Don't forget, guys, premium membership is not just me and Jacob. You get Artem's bets, his analysis, his picks, and he does far more than just UFC, which is helpful for you true degenerates. And we have the Pick Doctor. That's the nuclear physicist who's developing an AI for us. It has been picking underdogs at an insane rate. We'll see if that continues. It is in beta. Don't just blindly tail. Don't. You got the line movement tracker. Some impressive line movement this week. Keep an eye on your fighters, your lines. Oh my God, I have to sneeze.
Oh, bless you. Bless your heart. Oh, bless your little heart.
You're gonna
You
get
know,
the opening
every time you
odds,
sneeze,
the
because
current
somebody's
odds.
thinking about you naked.
You're going to get the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every single fighter on the card. You're also going to get detailed data, metrics, and analytics. This is 38 columns. There's nowhere else that you're going to find 38 columns of your fighters that week, and they're just detailed data and information. Fantasy data, striking data, grappling data, historical fights, betting odds, all that information left to right, color-coded, the whole shaboom available to you. You're also going to get courses. We have added courses. If you want to learn more about DraftKings and how to play DraftKings Fantasy, check out the Beginner's Guide course. Even if you just need to hop in very quickly and use the glossary there, because people like to use terms that not everybody knows. Punt, rake, ceiling, bankroll, GPP. All of those definitions are right there for you, ready to go. Any last words for the peeps?
Nope. Lock of the week video. Probably, people are asking in the chat, probably tomorrow afternoon, maybe tomorrow evening. We still got to figure that one out. Live stream Saturday. Live streams are definitely back Saturday. And it's going to be a long, because this is like a pay-per-view fucking time.
Yeah, you didn't do the pay-per-view because it was late, and then this is late.
And thank God, there's no way I would have survived that fucking. There's no way I would have survived that. I would have been literally chasing money. It would have been fucking rough. But we're back in a big way. And we got some cool things for the stream, too. We got some different things added. I got a stream deck and all sorts of stuff. So we're going to have some fun with it Saturday. And we just appreciate everyone that tunes in and every single week and likes the streams and all the support and all the comments and just everyone that's in there that's not doing any of that stuff. We still appreciate the watch and the listen.
100%. And just to reiterate what I said earlier, I think we flexed up to like 360 live viewers, maybe even a little more. There are 2 shows that went live at the same time as us that have a larger audience than we do just from raw subscribers. Their combined live viewership was 178.
And we're against tough, too.
And we just, it's not possible without any of you guys. So
we
thank
do
you all very
bigger
much.
numbers than Conor fucking McGregor. And you can tell him I fucking said that.
He'll care. I'm all over his documentary, so if he does make a comeback, they may splice and dice that. Really
I like
shit on
Bueno
me.
Silva, man. I think she's got a girlfriend or something, but there's something about her look, something in her eyes.
You see this picture and you're like, because
It's like the eyes and the lips, I think, or something.
Okay,
There's something
I
about
gotta
her
go.
that just gets me
I gotta
going.
go. Guys, thanks so much. We on Picks.com become a premium member. Help fund our dreams.